You ever talk to Kyle?
Kyle.
Kyle Thompson. He runs the Undaunted, Undaunted Life.
His podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, man, I watched him when he was on Mike Glover's podcast.
Oh yeah.
He went on Mike Glover's podcast, and he actually said something that resonated with me, man. He was uh, he was talking about being saving himself for his wife, right? And how I might butcher this in the way he put it, but the way he talked about it really touched deep in me because it's kind of the way he kind of made me understand why um, sometimes I think about other women outside of my relationship because he was talking about how he has saved himself for his wife and his wife saved herself for marriage and everything, and how now they don't have that temptation to look at other people sexually because they didn't, like I said, man, I'm butchering what he said, but it was something along those lines of the fact that they didn't experiment sexually before marriage made it to where they can be present in their relationship with each other and not have that temptation outside.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm butchering what he said
Yeah.
on Mike Glover's podcast, but it was really cool.
Okay.
Kind of made me think about my relationship and sometimes the way that I think.
Right.
Just when I see a good looking woman, sometimes my mind veers sexually,
Mhm.
unfortunately, because
Sure.
I'm a dude. But at the same time, I didn't do those things of like the Christian aspect of saving yourself for marriage
Yeah.
and how that kind of tainted my mind a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes it worse, but I still think if you would have been an angel prior, you still struggle. So,
With temptation, absolutely.
yeah. But
Absolutely.
maybe not as bad.
Yeah.
Because you kind of put stuff in your head that it's real hard to get out.
Mhm.
Or
And I think that was his point in what he was
Yeah.
talking about is like he never experimented sexually before marriage, so that temptation is not naturally there.
it made it a lot easier for him. I would,
Absolutely.
I believe that.
The way that he put it in that podcast. He laid it out perfectly.
Yeah.
It made complete sense. But yeah, I have listened to his podcast quite a few times.
Yeah,
He has some pretty cool people.
I like. Yeah. He gets some good guys.
I was actually thinking about wanting to have him on, just simply talk about what we were just talking about.
Hit him up. He's a busy dude.
I
I
know he
mean,
is.
he's a busy dude, but if he has time and wants to do it, he'd be happy to. I imagine.
Yeah, he's a great dude. I don't I like.
No, he's good people.
Yeah.
For sure. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah. How you doing, Shelby?
I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm a little tired.
Yeah. Yeah, when you said that you take a cup of coffee, I was like, damn, that's a little late
I know.
for coffee.
Well, shoot, man. So we just had a little baby. And she's about a month old, and she don't sleep very good at night. So she sleeps pretty good during the day, but both of us, man, me and Mama are we're pulling some long nights. And I'm working. She's staying home, and I need to get up at 6. But I mean, that baby's crying every 2-3 hours. But hey, that's just part of it. This is what we signed up for.
Yeah. Fatherhood.
Yeah.
Which congratulations, by the way, man.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that.
Me and the old lady can't have children. Just what we were since we were talking about it before. Like we're just not able to have kids.
Yeah.
Like unfortunately.
Well, and so that was what we thought was our situation as well.
Mhm.
Because we are, like I said, we're a little bit older, and so she did some of the fertility stuff, to the testing, and they said that it was probably not going to happen, even with more maybe some of the other thing in vitro and things like that. They said that it probably wouldn't happen, and so it was kind of crazy when we found out she had just went in for a checkup, and she'd kind of been having some weird things happen, but she had taken a few tests, pregnancy tests, and they were all negative. So we were like, oh man, what's going on? Maybe you need to go in and see the doc. And I'm at work, and I'm driving down Hefner Parkway, just heading to the hospital. And she calls and she's crying and she's FaceTiming me and she says, "You need to pull over." I was like, "Oh Lord, what is what?" I thought I was about to get hit with bad news, like something horrible.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. I pulled over and I pulled over, and then she turned the phone towards the
Ultrasound
yes,
screen.
yes, and I was like, what? Looks like a baby. And the doc was cracking up, and I was like, whoa. It's like, all right. And so she's crying. She's super happy. And I mean, we both really wanted to have kids, but she really wanted, we had already started kind of working towards the adoption
Mhm.
type, fostering type deal. We had been getting some information from folks, and that was kind of going to be our our next move. And then, but she really wanted to have a baby,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so hour later, I met her for lunch or breakfast or brunch or whatever, and we talked about it. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
It was a pretty good surprise. Like we were,
Nice.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is your first kid,
Yes,
right?
and hers as well. Yes.
I thought you said it's her first kid.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, congratulations, man. What's her name?
Gentry Reese.
Gentry Reese.
Yep.
Bullard.
Bullard. Yes. Yeah. So yeah.
Do you feel different now? Like, do you feel like you have to
Um,
fight off the world to protect her? Like,
I don't. I mean,
everybody says that once you have a kid, there's this amazing
know.
thing that
I don't think. I mean, I don't feel a whole lot different. I mean, I feel like if I'd have had a baby when I was 18 or 20 or 25, maybe then I would. I think it probably would have hit me a little harder then
Yeah.
than it does now. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an emotionless, soulless human being or something. I don't know.
you're not. You're not. I guarantee
No,
that.
no,
That's
no.
one of the things I like about you
Yeah.
is you're very philosophical.
Well, it's just like no, I didn't get like it didn't like. I mean, don't get me wrong. Super excited. This is great. It's the most wonderful thing ever. But I don't feel like I'm any different,
Yeah.
changed or anything.
But like you said, though, if you were 25 when this happened, it might
Then I'd
be
have been
a little
yeah.
different.
There would have been a lot more anxiety. I think. It was funny. My dad, he was like, because my dad, when I was born, my dad was 20, and my mom was 20, and my dad's like, "You're way ahead of the game now. You got more money. You're smarter. You're wiser. You have a lot of things taken care of, a lot of responsibilities taken care of. So in that, I mean, I feel that way. I feel
Mhm.
like okay, but then the downside is I'm going to be 60 years old by the time baby graduates high school, which I mean,
That's true. You will be going to graduate.
I'm
Is
gonna
this your
be
grandfather?
yeah, I know. I'm still going to look good though, so they won't think so. But yeah, I mean,
You'll be the baddest 60-year-old father there
I'll be
is.
so broke down, limping around, I won't be able to do anything.
Be beaten up.
Another reason why I'm happy is it's a little girl. I'm not gonna. I mean, my dad's still out there wrestling, going to wrestling practice a little bit here and there, but my body's just it can't really take it anymore.
You've been wrestling your whole life?
Yeah, since yeah.
And how long you been doing jujitsu?
Uh,
You just regular wrestling up through high school,
yeah,
right?
just yeah, folk style, collegiate, freestyle wrestling from like third grade and all the way up through college, and jujitsu I started right after college, and it was with the guys, with the boys.
Yeah.
That's when that. I mean, we kind of like we screwed around. Like even some of the guys up at UCO had done a little bit of jujitsu before, so we would mess around. But I never went to any practice or I never learned any moves. We just watched UFC and do stuff.
Play around.
Yeah, but Fight Club was the first uh, training that I ever did.
That was my first real introduction to it.
Yeah,
Was coming
yeah.
with you guys to
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
And that was in '06. So we've been doing
18.
yeah, we've been doing this '06.
Nice. Nice.
But I mean, there's guys who are black belts that started out as white belts when we all started.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is there's a bunch of us who aren't even close.
Yeah.
We should be. We've been doing it this long, but we're not. those guys,
rolling around the mats with all you guys on Sunday nights, like y'all were
yeah,
pretty damn good. Like,
yeah. But I mean, as long as we've been doing it, so the
but
difference,
not everybody was pursuing it outside of Fight Club though either.
correct. So as long as we've been doing it, we should be, yeah, every one of us should be a black belt. But the difference, the reason those other guys are black belts and we're not, is we did it once a week,
Mhm.
and we even missed some weeks. So those guys were going 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, depending on where they were in their journey,
Mhm.
and that makes a humongous difference. And they go to different gyms, learn different, from different instructors. Um, we would still learn new stuff occasionally, but we would go over a lot of basics, and I mean we learned enough to be salty, but learn enough to defend ourselves. Learn enough to have a really good time on a Sunday night. But
Well, I mean, that was the whole point of Fight Club is, street fighting.
yeah,
Like if you get into issues in the streets in your everyday life,
yeah,
it wasn't about competing in jujitsu.
correct.
Uh,
It was
Sure.
about having the confidence to be able to take care of yourself if you had to.
well, that and it was a camaraderie. I felt like it was a camaraderie of men. You know,
Those are my best friends in the world. I have a few friends that are that are my best friends outside of Fight Club, but most of my closest guys are in Fight
I thoroughly enjoy going to Fight Club. Like,
Club. Hey, come on back. You're looking fit. You're not looking heavy.
I'm
Looks
not,
like you lost a little bit of weight.
I do a bunch of running and working out.
Yeah, yeah. You look good.
Well, maybe I can because Sundays I work until 6 because you do it at 7, right?
7,
Still in Edmond?
same spot.
I guess I could come straight from work.
Yeah, yeah. I think Beard will be there next week. I don't know, maybe not.
Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Maybe what's the gym?
Forge.
The Forge right next to the Wolf Trap.
The Wolf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, maybe I will.
Okay.
Yeah, because I get off at 6. I should be able to make it there. I'm South Norman at 6. I should be able to make it there.
Yeah,
Or just 35 straight up.
It's a straight shot. If you're
Yeah.
late, you just be like, you'd be rolling at the same time Jermaine rolls in.
Yeah.
So you be good. You be good. But,
Jermaine used to always make me feel so good.
yeah.
When I'd go to roll with him and he would just kind of like, you know how good he is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
he would just kind of like twist around and he'd be like, "Hey man, you're pretty good."
Yeah.
Like, thanks, I had brothers or
He's
whatever. And then he'd wrap me up.
He's one of the nicest human beings on the planet. Could still like twist your head around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he's one of them dudes who for a very long time went more than just once a week. He was training at a pretty good place here in town for a while,
Mhm.
and I think he got his purple belt. And I'm not sure if he's still training. Like, I think he still pops in every now and then, but I think he's down to once a week. But I'd have to ask him honestly because I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah.
But he trained more than once a week for a long time. And got really, really tough.
I actually remember the night Kyle pinned him, choked him out or something for the very first. He was so happy. Kyle was so happy.
Dude.
He's like, "Oh my god, I pinned Jermaine."
Yeah. Dude, Kyle has gotten so good. It's so he just got his brown belt
Oh yeah.
at the Forge. He trains like 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Or 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Just depending. And that dude, so when he first started, it wasn't that tough to tie him up. Now I couldn't even. He plays with me like I'm a white belt and he's a brown belt. Like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Like he beats a dog crap, and he makes me like he lets me know. Like he's like, yeah, remember when you used to be good? I was like, yeah, I remember. I remember. It's been cool. Like, and I think he's a really driven human being.
Mhm.
And when he jumps into something that he really likes, he doesn't like he does 100%. And I think his goal was, I want to be a black belt.
Yeah.
And he's right there. Like, so he's right where, he's right on the track. Like he's on the track to do that. He'll do it. Like that's going to happen unless he, something crazy would have to happen for him not to get black belt.
Yeah.
And so that's coming. Takes a while, but
I would very much like to enter a gym and pursue a
Yeah,
black belt like that.
yeah. I mean,
I don't have the time to uh, put towards it right
you
now.
got about you need
No.
about 10, 15 years.
Well, just that, and you need multiple days a week
Yeah, yeah,
to be able to train, and
yeah,
I don't have that time right now,
yeah. I hear that.
unfortunately.
I don't have the time. I don't have the desire, and I don't have the physical ability to do it anymore.
Hmm.
Like my body is so beat up and just it's just I'm just not. I don't feel like I don't feel like I could physically I could do it. So that's I've lost a little.
Do you think that's just age, though?
Well,
What
I
do you?
think it's a combination of just all the years of wrestling beat myself up, all the years of jujitsu and stuff beat myself up, and then probably partying, not taking care of myself, not eating healthy,
Yeah,
that
I spent many years
yeah,
doing that
yeah,
shit.
destroying your body.
In fact, when I first started Fight Club with you guys, I was like that. I was still doing drugs and booze quite often,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, smoking cigarettes still, in
yeah, yeah,
fact.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
That it takes its toll on you, and
yeah.
you know, I remember so up to COVID, I was still working out from little league, junior high, high school, college, all the way up to COVID. I was still working out and was still in pretty good shape. You know, I was not even close to the same shape I was back in college, but I was still maintaining good shape. And COVID hit, and it just
See,
that's
that's
a
the
it's a
exact
terrible excuse. I know it's an excuse,
it's
but
the exact opposite for
yeah,
me.
yeah,
That's when I really started upping my training.
turned it
I
around.
turned it up.
Yeah. See, I just went. I was sitting at home doing nothing. There's a bottle of whiskey, and and I'm like, just do that. So it just that COVID wrecked my shape, and I've been taking steps. I've got uh, I've got a shop out in the backyard that I'm filling full of gym equipment. So now all I got to do is get in there and pick some of that stuff up.
Hmm.
But
I got a couple pieces of wood you can
yeah, yeah,
have. Like, I've got a couple different sizes of wood that I carry around.
yeah, really,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I couldn't afford. That's what I have in my garage because after COVID, I didn't want to go back to a gym just because people are so fucking nasty.
yeah, dude,
And
yeah.
so I slowly bought some things for my garage. I couldn't afford some things, so some things. You ever hear that old saying, "You want to be strong, carry heavy shit"?
Yeah, yeah.
One day, I just picked up a log
Hmm.
and carried it from my house around the corner to 39th Street and back, and that's a mile.
Yeah.
And then I added squats in there, and then
Yeah.
lunges, and
Yeah.
now every once in a while I'll run with a log. Like,
Okay.
like it was free.
Sure.
That was the point. It was free and it was heavy.
The gyms are the worst. Like, so me and my wife got membership to a gym, and
Yeah.
it's one of those big giant gyms. There's a gazillion people in there, and I hate it. In there, and there's a million people. I'm like, I don't want to be around all these people.
Mm.
And so I was like, all right, a home gym, I could do a home gym. And we already had some stuff. Like she had some stuff, I had a little bit of stuff, and then we bought a few things. And we're
And you really don't need a lot.
no,
You really don't.
no. I mean, honestly, one of my favorite things is punch bag. I got a Muay Thai bag that hangs from the ceiling. Yeah, and dude, you could work out all day on a Muay Thai bag. One that you want it to be the tall one, the one that's like 6.5, 7 feet tall. It
And
sits
it
on the
almost
ground.
touches
Yeah,
it touches the ground.
mine sits on the ground because kick it, it'll. I don't want it to swing, so it'll drag and it'll
Mm.
stop.
Yeah.
You don't want it sitting on the ground much, but you want it touching the ground so that when you kick it,
It
it'll
slows
it'll
it
it'll,
down.
it'll yeah. And man, like I could just do that and be happy.
Yeah, punching and kicking for 45 minutes wear you out.
20 minutes of But and I enjoy the striking stuff.
Mhm.
I feel like when we do Fight Club, we do jujitsu, boxing, and wrestling, or Muay Thai, or whatever. I feel like the Muay Thai and the punching is a lot less wear and tear on me. Like I don't feel like I don't feel like my shoulder's gonna come out or my knee. I don't feel like my neck's gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
And and you can still get. I mean, taking shots to the head is not good,
Yeah.
but we don't punch hard enough. We're not. I mean, we're not. We're going 50% at best. 65% if somebody's, you know,
being a dick.
yes. So the Muay Thai and the boxing for me, I feel like is safer and I enjoy it more. And it's also I'm not as good at it as I am at wrestling and jiu-jitsu. So it's also fun to learn,
Yeah,
and to get better at something.
I enjoy the striking aspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
I enjoy the rolling around and learning the ground game, but the striking aspect is my favorite part.
Me too. It's fun. It's like I said, I grew up wrestling, then doing jujitsu. I didn't do a whole lot of punching, I mean, maybe a little. Like I had a punching bag when I was a kid, but I didn't know how to move my head. I didn't know how to move my feet.
Mm.
So, and that's I could throw a punch, but I mean, I couldn't not get hit. And that's a big, that's a big part of boxing is not get hit.
Yeah,
That's how you win
that's
boxing
the
matches.
bobbing and weaving. Yeah.
So, and I still like don't know how to not get hit. So
Well, that also, sir, takes years to learn
yeah,
properly
yeah,
to become a master at. I think. So,
yeah.
what So one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to you is because I always liked your philosophical brain because you like to read. Um, you would always quote Nietzsche
Mm,
a
I
few
mean,
times. I've heard you quote him a few times.
yes, and that was probably because of Jordan Peterson. But Nietzsche, I never read.
I think it was when we were reading the 12 steps,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
12 rules for life
yeah. I've
by
never
Jordan
like
Peterson.
read full Nietzsche. It's but that's I mean I've read people who read Nietzsche.
Mhm.
So, but that stuff, man, that goes way past my abilities to, that's some upper level philosophy. Like
Yeah,
I'm more practical, I guess.
yeah, but I think you could break it down into a practical perspective for your life.
It's
You
interesting,
know,
that stuff. I'm
hmm
interested in it, but yeah, I don't. Nietzsche was a weird dude. And that,
I think they're all weird dudes.
yeah, I mean
I
that
mean,
that was right at the edge of where the Enlightenment and all that, or I guess that was. I think Nietzsche was past the Enlightenment, but that was when the whole world stopped believing in God as much as they had believed in God before.
mhm.
And now that it was more of a secular philosophy and like, okay, so if God isn't the author of existence, then what is? And now these guys are trying to figure it out, and they're trying
Mhm.
to come up with, you know,
Do you have opinion on what God is?
yeah. I mean, I'm a Christian.
I know that part, but
Yeah.
like, uh, what is God to you?
Well,
Like, do you think that God is a bearded dude in a cloak in a cloud behind some pearly
I
gates?
don't think God is a
Like,
person. I mean, I think God is a person in Jesus Christ. I mean, if if so, if God is a person, He's Jesus. But then the Father is beyond. It's almost like it's beyond categoriz- categorization.
categorization.
Categorization. He's outside. He's other. He's beyond. Like really, he's beyond our ability to understand. I believe.
Mm.
Like, but that's what shows. I mean, Jesus is here so that we can understand God, but He's also here to save us. But I mean, I mean, you could think about that for your whole life and not come anywhere close to where you need to be.
Probably.
Yeah.
I like other people's opinions
Yeah.
and what they think, because it's like, for example, for me, like I think God is in all of us.
Yeah. Well,
Now, I don't believe in the same ideologies as like the Christian faith or anything, but I think God is in all of us, and
right.
that, like we're all creators in our own way.
Right.
Uh, but I also think that God is in the good deeds of others, the small things, that push you in a certain direction and whatnot. Like God is in that. God isn't part of everything.
Right. Well, He is because if God is eternal and existence is not eternal, like matter and stuff is not eternal, and I believe that, and I think a lot of scientists who don't believe in God believe that existence is not eternal, or at least this existence is not eternal, because everything's breaking down. Eventually, everything is going to lose energy and be a cold, dark uh, void. So something had to exist beyond existence, and that's what God is. And I mean, but so God isn't just a being, but he's also existence. He's also in the environment. He's everything. And everything that exists now, like everything that's here, has to exist within him. He sustains everything because I mean, if he's eternal and he was here before anything, then everything that was there before was him. Like there was nothing but him.
I think that's where some people get the idea that like universe is God, you know.
Right. I think it's within him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he sustains the universe. Like if he created it, he sustains it, and he surrounds it. Even.
Yeah. But I think you're absolutely right. It's like we can't even fathom.
No, you can't. Like I've tried to even
like you can explain it all day long,
and it's just
yeah. But you're absolutely right though. But man, like I definitely do not think that death is the end.
no.
I think death is just another step in the evolution of the life of our souls, maybe. Like what goes on beyond this, I have no idea, and I won't find out. None of us find out until we die.
Yeah, that's
Unfortunately, but that's also what makes life so amazing is the fact that we die. You know, I was talking to my wife about that, or I think it was this morning. And it's like, what makes life so amazing is the fact that we die. And the time we spent with others. You're going to die one day, and I'll think about the time, this conversation that we had. That's what makes this conversation great between us, because one day you won't be here, I won't be here. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
life's a weird thing.
Yeah, I haven't figured it out yet.
I was trying to explain to somebody my idea that we don't actually own anything the other night. I was like, I don't care if some dude wrote down on a piece of paper and had some other dude sign it. You don't actually own anything in this life. I don't think. I don't care what a piece of paper says. The house is not yours. Eventually, we're all going to die. This all came from the earth. Eventually, it'll go back to the earth. Like,
yeah, you can't take it with you.
yeah, you're not taking your money with you. You're not taking your cars with you. You're not taking your house. You're not taking your hot girlfriend. Like, nothing is actually yours in this life, except for your little meat suit, I guess. But monetary things they just don't mean anything to me, man.
That's good.
This old man broke down on the side of Highway 62, just north of 9, south of Newcastle. And I saw him walking back to his car, and I turned around and I stopped. I was on my bike, and I stopped, and I literally pulled up next to him on the side of the road, and I got off just to check him, make sure he was good, make sure he had somebody coming or whatnot. And he goes, "Hey man, make sure nobody hits your bike." I was like, "It's just a thing. Like if somebody hits it, oh well."
That's a good attitude, at least. You don't get hung up on. I mean, because tornado could come wipe your house out. I mean, just like that. Rocky. You buddies with Rocky? He's one of our boys. He's the OG Fight Club guy who's been around since the very beginning.
I probably
you met Rocky. I guarantee you met Rocky. He's the Filipino gorilla who will squeeze the life out of you if you.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I can't picture him in my head, but I think I know who you're talking about.
His house just got hit by a tornado a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it sucked. I mean, those tornadoes hit at like 2 a.m, and he lives out Choctaw, and it just leveled his entire street. And I mean, it's bad. It sucks, and that could mess with you a little bit, but he's got a lot of boys and a lot of people around him. So I think they're doing, and nobody got hurt. So everybody's fine. Everybody's safe. And so I think he's good.
Yeah. It's just one of those stresses in life that I've never really cared about, man.
It's good.
Things like if I don't have it, I'm still like, it just doesn't matter to me. It's the best way I can describe it. It's cool to have things. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. Like I would love to have a freaking Ferrari,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter if I don't have it.
Did you ever collect stuff when you were a kid, or even?
Man, I tried to get into collecting like baseball cards and
Yeah.
things. I went through a little pog stage when they were
Yeah.
popular in the 90s. I did baseball cards when I was younger. Uh, but I never really stuck with anything. I had some really cool comic books. I never really stuck with any of those things.
That was always something kind of in me. Like I had the little collector. I like to collect different things, and
You still have them?
some stuff like I got a box of comic books that are I had since I was, before I was even a teenager.
Yeah.
But I still get that in me to where I want to start collecting something, and I want to, and it's like, okay, I got it, and then I throw it over here, and I want the next one. I want to go collect the next deal that goes with the next one, and that's kind of what you're saying about stuff, like all that crap that I'm collecting. I'm doing it because it makes me happy and I enjoy it, but it's not like they're like they make your life a little better for a second or whatever, but it's really not improving your life. And I don't know. I think that I could get hung up on losing stuff.
Everybody can. I mean, I guarantee you, if a tornado came through and wiped out the street and
Mhm.
destroyed this entire house,
Mhm.
I would probably cry a bit over some things. I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not completely oblivious to the fact of how amazing the things that I have are,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. It's your
I
stuff.
well, I had a fire once in an apartment. I was living in do you remember Pinehurst Apartments?
I remember the name.
122nd MacArthur.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're called something different now.
Yeah.
There's something that they repainted it and gave it a new name.
Yeah.
Um, so I lived in those apartments, and I came home from partying with friends one night, and uh, I woke up and I thought I had overslept because it was really bright on my sliding glass doors. I was like, "Oh shit, I overslept." And I went to look outside, and I hit the blinds, and my entire porch was on fire. So I turned around and grabbed my dog, ran outside, knocked on my neighbor's doors. Hey, my apartment's on fire. Get out. Blah blah blah. Fire department came, put it out. Blah blah blah. But after it was all said and done, the maybe I think it was the Salvation Army. There's people from some organization like the Salvation Army that was there that wanted to get my name and information and give me things like a new couch, a new bed, blah blah
So you
blah.
lost a bunch of your stuff.
Not really.
Really?
Not really, because they put it out before it actually got into the apartment.
Yeah.
It was all smoke filled. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
Like it took forever to get the smell out of the
Yeah.
blankets and things out of my mattress. But they wanted to give me things, and I told them no. I was like, take your stuff to somebody else who needs it. But like, I can go live at my mom's house. My mom's got an extra bedroom. I've
Mhm.
got brothers. I've got family. I've got people that can help me out. Like,
Mhm.
I don't need. There are much more people needing your help than I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I kind of told them no. It's not that I didn't need it. It would have been great to have those things, but I have people to help me. Like, go help somebody else. Don't waste your time with me. I will be okay.
I hear that.
But I've also think that mentality has been ingrained for me since I was a kid because, like you were asking when you first got here, if I grew up here.
Mhm.
I was born in Florida and kind of we moved around because we're in a military family. So every few years we packed up and went to a new place, and you kind of had to restart
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
when you're like that. Did you grow up like that, or did you
No.
grow up
No.
in a place?
I've lived around here my whole life.
Well, when you pack up every few years, you really only have your family because you move somewhere where nobody has any idea where you are, and you have to make new friends and start over.
Yeah.
So that happened quite a few times in my younger pre-teen life
Mhm.
before I was even a teenager. So I think that kind of the ability to lose everything and start over comes a little bit easier to me just because of the way we
Sure.
grew up.
Sure.
You
Sure.
know, I would have loved to grow up in one spot, but it didn't happen for me. That's the way Rachel was born and raised here. You know,
Did she go PC or West?
she went to Deer Creek.
Oh, okay. I thought she was from out here.
She went to Deer Creek. I know she went to. I don't know. I know she went to Deer Creek for high school.
Okay. I coached there for a
Yeah?
year. Yeah. Buddy of mine coached.
Wrestling?
Yeah. And I was still in college. I was finishing up college. And a buddy of mine coached there. And then he was leaving and they needed another assistant coach. And so I was like, shoot, I mean, I needed some extra money anyway. I was working at Outback back then. Like I was working with you.
Yeah, that's when I first met you back in the day.
I was working at Outback, finishing college, and coaching at Deer Creek.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun too. The coach out there, he's so crazy. He was so much fun. His name's Howie, Coach Howington. He was awesome, but he was crazy. And the athletic director was a good buddy of my dad's. So he was like, they were like best friends, still are. And they coached at Putnam City West together for like 10 years. So from the early 80s to the early 90s, my dad and Bob Diefenderfer coached at West. And that's how I mean, honestly, that's how I got into wrestling, was being 3 years old, going to high school wrestling matches and running around under the bleachers or whatever,
Yeah.
Going to wrestling practice. And I mean, I remember from like the smallest age that all I ever wanted to do was be a wrestler.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to do some other things too, like be an astronaut or a Marine or whatever, but like all I ever really wanted to do was be a wrestler.
Yeah.
Because I thought wrestling, like spending all this time with those high school wrestlers when I was a little kid, thought they were the coolest guys ever. I probably learned a few things I shouldn't have learned at a young age being around, but it was like it was great. Like it was awesome. And my dad was really tough. Like he used to smash those high school kids.
Yeah.
He was young too. I mean, when he was coaching up there, he was 23, 24 years old, and he was a good wrestler. He had wrestled at college. He was state champ high school, and he would go up there and
Throwing those kids around.
he would beat the crap out of them. Well, by the time I got into junior high, I was starting to get big enough to where I could actually wrestle my dad, not just him on his knees throwing me around. And I don't think I scored a point on my dad until I was about a junior in high school. And that was wrestling him like every day in practice or every other day, because he would come, like he coached at UConn. He left West and started coaching at UConn as an assistant when I was in about 7th or 8th grade. And I mean, and he still smashed all of my friends and all those guys. Like he was really tough.
Yeah.
And even in college, like I would go, when I went to college, I wrestled UCO. He would come up every now and then and he would take dudes down, even really good dudes. And it was, by now he's in his 40s.
There's something about age and wisdom, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And there was multiple time national champions in that room. Now he couldn't beat them in a wrestling match, but he could take them down.
Yeah.
He could score points on them. And it was always fun. It was always fun wrestling with him. Like he was the best coach / dad that I could have had for wrestling, because he was awesome.
Did he how some parents can over push their children?
He wasn't like that. No.
Very well balanced in that aspect.
Like I said, it couldn't have been a better situation with that. Couldn't have been better. Like he was encouraging, but he was also like, he knew what he was doing, knew what he was talking about. He had tons of experience coaching wrestling. I mean, I won wrestling matches sometimes because he would go scout the dude I was about to wrestle. Like I'd be screwing around, not paying attention. He'd be watching this kid wrestle, seeing what he does, and he'd be like, "Hey, he does this, this, and this. You need to remember that. And this is how we're going to get around that." And it worked. I mean, I owe a lot of my success in wrestling to him.
Mm-hmm. Well, you think that was just because you weren't paying attention and you were a teenager?
Yeah.
Look at that cute girl over there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. And he's like, no, he's making, he's making calculating decisions over here. but he was always like, and he loved teaching technique. And then he loved it. Like I said, he loved to get in there and do it too. So he was in there in the restroom every day in his 30s and even up into his 40s wrestling with us. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like that was a good. I remember thinking that high school, and this was after college, but thinking that high school wrestling was some of the best times I ever had in my whole life. Because there's a lot riding on it, but it was also just a lot of fun. College was a lot of fun, but it was also more of a job. It was a job, like because my place there depended on me showing up and doing everything. Because if I didn't, then I'd have to go home. They would kick me out of school. So I had to show up. I had to do everything, and it was hard. Like, and God, those guys in there, they're such good wrestlers in that room.
And you went to UCO?
Yep, yep. And there were just, there's absolute killers in there. And at my weight, below me and above me were all national champions, just killers. Just every day you walk in the restroom, you're getting beat up every day. But and I did. I never started. I wrestled up there for 4 years, and I never started because of those dudes that I was going up against in the room. But I got 10 times better from senior year in high school to fourth year at college, wrestling them guys.
Man, it's amazing how being around people that are better than you lifts you up.
Big time.
And you don't even notice it sometimes.
Big time.
But it's amazing how that works. And it's in every sport, whether it be football to wrestling to running. Like if you run with somebody better than you, your pace goes up just because
Yep.
it pulls something out of you that you didn't know it was there. It almost seems like, you know what I mean?
I had a couple of buddies in high school who were really good high school wrestlers, but they were just kind of on their edge of their potential. And then when they got into college and started wrestling nothing but good dudes, they got so much better than they were. And they were great wrestlers. And then they became unbelievable and went on to just destroy everybody. And I had a couple of buddies that were like that, and they went on to have some of the best wrestling careers ever because in their high school, in their room, there was nobody who could touch them. Like they they couldn't reach their full potential in that room.
Because they were the best in the room.
Yeah, and not just the best; they were the best by far. Like there wasn't anybody who could even do anything. And then they go up to college, and all they do is wrestle really good dudes, and it's just like a tiny acorn becomes an oak tree.
Yeah.
That's what it was like.
Yeah.
One guy in particular who just unbelievable career because he got to reach his potential by wrestling really good competition.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
Yep.
Can see why you enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yep.
What so I heard a conversation today talking about bad relationships. Not going to get into the details of the conversation. It's not my place to say. Have you ever been not so nice of a guy?
Yeah.
Like, is there a time in your life that
Not selfish, immature, all that.
I'm going more along the lines of being a piece of shit. Like,
Yeah.
if there have ever been points in your life where
I still feel
should
that way
not
sometimes, bro. Like I wake up in the morning some days, I'm like, God, what's wrong with me? Like, no, I still feel that way occasionally. So
Yeah.
yes, I would say yes.
What do you do? Gus is asleep.
Oh,
Gus is dreaming. That's what you hear.
oh yeah.
He's chasing a squirrel in his dreams.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do I want to phrase this? What do you do to negate those negative thoughts and feelings?
Well, I
keep them
battle
in
with it.
check.
I do battle with it. One thing that helps is to know, and I do know, or I believe that it's in our nature to be a piece of shit. Like I do not subscribe to the belief that human beings are good. Like they're basically good. They're just good. And the only reason they do bad stuff is because of their environment or their circumstances or their whatever. I don't believe that. I believe that human beings from the beginning are not good and that it's our nature to not be good. It's our nature to be selfish and it's our nature to to take from the weak and to all the bad stuff that human beings do all day every day to each other. That's our nature. So starting from there, which I believe is the correct view of human nature, is that no, human beings are not good. That helps. Okay, so when I when I behave in such a way that it's like, you know, why did I do that? That was not good. That was not right. That was dishonest. I know that that is the nature of human beings.
Mhm.
But Christianity says that though you though you are a sinful human being by nature, there is forgiveness for that and redemption for that. And I believe that Jesus Christ provides that. And so that helps. Like, yeah, like, it helps me not to beat myself up so much.
Now, what about like, are there things that you do to keep your mind in check outside of that knowledge of the forgiveness of Jesus Christ kind of thing? Like I have a really shitty bad day and I'm in a bad mood and I'm come home
Mhm.
and I want to yell at my wife and take it out on her
Mhm.
or slam something around, blah blah blah. Like I'll go for a 5 to 10 mile run, and by
No,
the
no,
time I'm
that's
done with it, that stress has been
that's good therapy.
dissipated.
That's good
That's good
therapy.
therapy.
I agree with that.
Um,
No, no, that's
but
100% good therapy.
it also helps with the mental aspect of
Yeah, no, no,
it
no.
for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree. Talking to somebody helps. You got boys, you got I got some good buddies that I can call and be like, hey, dude, this is like, my head's really screwed up. Like,
Mhm.
talk to my wife, you know. I can always talk to my wife if and she wants to know these things, you know. So if my head's screwed up and and not like taking it out on her, right? I can talk to her about that, and she can help me work through
Mhm.
stuff. Good friends. I mean, shoot, dude, that's why we meet every Sunday night.
Yeah.
I mean, half the time we're working out, the other half we're just hanging out, and those are dudes I trust. Those are dudes I got a lot of life experience with. They know me. They know me as well as I know myself. Uh, and they're not afraid to tell me that I'm being an asshole.
Mhm.
They'll tell me like, "Hey, dude, you're messing up," or "That's stupid." Especially Russ. Russ will be like, no, no, that's really messed up way of thinking. Yeah, you're wrong in this." And I'm like, "Wow, I just need somebody to tell me
Yeah.
that." Especially if I don't believe it at the time. I'm like explaining something, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is really messed up." And he's like, "Yeah, it's your fault." I'm like, "Ooh." Man, like, yeah, you're right. But that's and Vinny's the same way. Vinny will tell me. Kyle will tell me. Any of them dudes. Downtown, downtown Jermaine Brown, Danestown, Beard. Those guys, they're all good dudes, and they're smart, and and they can see through your bull crap.
Mhm.
You can. I mean, my wife can see through my bull crap. So it's good to have people that you love and you trust that can help you work through like work through some of that stuff.
That's one of the things I absolutely love about my wife is she makes sure that my head does not get
Yeah, yeah,
like she's like, Sit down, sweetheart. Sit down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's get up off your high
Yeah,
horse.
I really know. Like I know you. Like these people, they don't know you. I know.
She's like, I've slept with you. I know how long you guys. Don't act like you're
not. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. People who know you, and they can see through your bull crap.
Yeah.
And it's good to have people who will call you out on it. 100%. Mhm.
I think that's actually one of the things I liked about you when we first met. I don't know if you remember this, but I do. Long time ago, the
Like
Outback
days,
Steakhouse
Outback days.
Outback Steakhouse days. This is one of the
I
reasons.
was not as wise as a human being back then. I can tell you that.
This is one of the reasons I like you, though. So, you remember back in the day, we used to punch potatoes to make our own fries.
Oh yeah.
In the back, we used to put them in
Yeah,
steaks.
yeah.
I was back there. So
Yeah,
it's one of your outs in the fry station is you had to punch those potatoes for the prep for the next day.
Throw them in the
And
sink.
I was back there doing it, and you had come back to get something, and I was dripping sweat. I think I was dripping sweat, and it's literally just from doing this with potatoes. And I had said something about sweating, and you're like, "That's because you're out of shape." I think that was your exact words. You looked right at me. It's like, "That's because you're out of shape." And then you went and got something, and then went back to work, and I was like, "That motherfucker's right."
I don't recall that. I don't recall that, but
that's one of the reasons I like you.
Yeah. Funny, man.
Because you were absolutely right. And at the time, I was out of shape because I was smoking cigarettes, sitting around all day, eating potato chips, smoking pot, like not doing nothing.
And I was a college wrestler.
And you were a college wrestler walking around like, hey, you want to stick? You're out of shape, buddy. But your honesty, that's one of the reasons I liked you. Is that brutal honesty, right? Because sometimes that's what you need,
Well, and when you're around dudes who are constantly doing that to you, and maybe not even in a good way, but you're constantly getting poked at and made fun of, like just when you're around a group of dudes like a bunch of college wrestlers, they're like it's a different crowd. They're not nice necessarily, but like you fit in by poking each other or getting at each other or competing with each other. And that's how, that's how you become good boys.
You bond.
Yeah, you bond by, calling the other guy fat ass because, he ate a Big Mac for lunch. And you're like, dude, it's not that big of a deal. and making somebody feel bad for anything that they do, you make them feel bad for it. And yeah, that's, it's part.
Well, I mean, you weren't wrong. Like up until a few years ago, most of the things in my life, I was a quitter. Like it's just the mentality that I had. Like I quit the army. I quit running for so long. I relationships, like all kinds of manners of things. Like, and it wasn't until a few years ago where my mentality switched to where now I actually continue to pursue the things that I like instead of pursuing them for a little bit, not getting the result I want, and then quitting. Unfortunately, just the mentality I had.
Well, you grew up. I mean, that's awesome. That's the same with me. Like I feel like the same way.
I just didn't become a man until I was a little 38.
Well, 39. But you progressed up to that point. I would
Not
say.
Really.
Really?
I don't think so. I did some shitty things in those times, especially in the period between 25 and 37.
Yeah. I mean,
there was some stupid shit that I did that, I really don't think that I became a man taking care of business until a good 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Probably until when I put down the booze and cocaine and pills is really when
that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those things put a damper on not only your mind but your body.
I agree with that.
You're poisoning yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The worst part about it is the mentality aspect of it, because, and most of that stems from insecurity.
Sure.
So,
I agree with all that.
But that's all in the past now. So my mentality now, my thought is this: we can do poor. Me and Rachel, we've done it. We can do poor. let's try to do rich now.
Yeah. Okay.
So now that's the goal is not money.
Mhm.
Let me be clear on that. The goal is not money. The money is a byproduct of the things
Mhm.
that I want to do.
The goals you're trying to achieve.
Yes,
It'll be a.
it'll be a byproduct of those things.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome.
The goal is really to uplift the people around me,
Okay.
the people that I call friends and family. And
Yeah.
the goal is to uplift the people that I love.
That's good. That's a good goal.
One of them is this,
Yeah. No,
you know.
yeah, it's cool. It's very cool.
Like you
I
said,
mean, dude, here's the thing, man. I don't. I mean, I watch more TV now than I ever have in my ever. But for the longest time, I didn't watch TV. But I like listening to podcasts. I mean, this
they're
is like I enjoy listening. It's because you're not, especially if you're trying to gain information, you're not getting it from, especially like anything on TV, like the news
no,
or anything like that. They're trying to sell you advertisements, man. That they're trying to sell you stuff.
and they give
Podcasts,
you little bits of
yeah,
information in
like
between those.
well, they'll throw something out there to keep you glued to the TV, and then they'll slam a bunch of advertisements in your face. Like they're trying to sell advertisements.
Mhm.
No, like podcasts, like these are folks, doing things that they're interested in and
Mhm.
trying to find other people who are interested in the same kind of stuff. And
And if you want to listen to it, you listen to
and
it.
there's a million different ones that are, so you could find interesting things. And I mean, I like listening to music, but I've listened to music. I've listened to every song that I get bored of listening to the same music over and over. So I would rather listen to some new conversations. And podcasts is podcast is what I listen to when I'm in the car, always, or books. I like to listen to books, but
Yeah. Podcasts, especially like when I'm driving to work in South Norman, like it takes me 40 minutes to get to work.
yeah,
Like I'll throw in a podcast and just cruise to work
yeah.
and
And it
gain
could
some
be
knowledge on the way.
it could be knowledge, it could be entertainment. I
Mhm.
mean, it could be a million things.
Absolutely.
It's something different. It's something, it's not the same thing.
And it's different each time.
Yeah.
It's like you said, you listen to the same song over and over. And it's like,
And again,
I love
I
this
love
music.
music.
Yeah.
I love music. I love it. Like I do. And I still listen to the same stuff that but I get tired of listening to the same. It's funny, like so uh maybe my last 2 years of college, in the summertime as a job, we mow yards all day, every day. And I worked for a guy and he was cool. He was at one time a teacher out in Yukon. I'm from Yukon. But he's a teacher out in Yukon, and then he started a mowing business, and then he quit teaching, and he just did the mowing business. He's making a ton of money, and he'd hire young freaking knuckleheads like me and some of my buddies, and we'd work for him. From I'd work for him from the end of wrestling season all the way up until grass wasn't growing anymore,
Mhm.
and uh, it was hard work, but it was fun. I was with a couple of good dudes I grew up with, or one of the guys I grew up with, and then some other guys, and it was good job. And I remember we'd have this is back before you had freaking iPods, any of that crap. We had just a strap on radio onto your arm with the cord with the headphones.
So like a Walkman style.
Yeah,
But it
like
pick up the AM, FM.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we would listen to this. Like I loved rock and roll music. So I listened to the 2 or 3 rock and roll stations that Oklahoma City had at the
What,
time.
the cat.
Cat 107, and then it was KRXO, I think it was, and then the Bob 90, whatever it was at the time. Dude, we're talking like early in the morning until the afternoon. You're listening to the same radio stations all day, every day.
And they look the same music.
After a while, you're hearing the same stuff over and over.
Yeah.
Over and I remember just like, dude, this sucks. So I clicked it off of FM and I clicked it onto AM, and I started listening to talk radio. And dude, that's when I got into listening to freaking talk radio after that. And so that's what I start, I stopped listening to music on the radio as much. And now talk radio's it's got its own problems, but I like podcasts even better.
Yeah.
But and I can listen to them at my, when I want to listen to them, I can skip
You
through
can
commercials.
pause it. Yeah.
But it was funny because like the same song over and over and over every day, and I'm like, dude, done. I've heard this song like I will never listen to Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, and I love those guys. I'll never listen to them again because it's all that would come on the stupid radio station all day, every day.
So what's Rob Zombie's
Yeah, yeah.
uh
Dragula.
Dracula?
Yeah,
That fucking song. I cannot
dude, a
hear
million.
that
Yeah.
song.
Godsmack. I mean, just all the same crap over and over and over and over and over and over. Classic rock too, man. I love classic rock, but there's only so many of them songs out there because they ain't
Yeah.
making classic rock no more. So,
Dude, I want to say I was listening to the radio couple months back, and 92.5 is Coma, the oldie station.
yeah. No,
I swear to God,
still
I heard-
turn on every now and then.
But I heard Warren G.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
When that music is on
Yeah.
the oldie
Tail,
station,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
fuck, I'm getting old,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Warren G on 92.5.
Yeah.
It's not really whatever.
Yeah. It's they play a lot of 80s on that station. I'll crank it on. There'll be some 80s jamming.
92.5 is a good station.
I agree.
I still listen to the radio because my car, it has a CD player, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I have to, if I'm not listening to a podcast,
Mhm.
I have to listen to the radio because that's all I have.
My truck is a 2010, and it's just like barely on the fringe when they started doing Bluetooth and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So it works, but sucks.
Yeah.
I got to push a whole bunch of buttons, and I got to do some things to make. But it's what I do because I want to listen to my podcast. Listen to it on the way over here.
I actually just listened to it in a headphones, the AirPods.
Yeah.
I throw an AirPod in and I listen to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, man, podcasts have really come up.
I agree.
And this has been a huge year for podcasts, being the fact that presidential candidate and the vice presidential candidate have been making their rounds on podcasts. That has really bolstered up podcasts.
Right, dude.
Just the simple fact of presidential and vice presidential candidate being on a podcast.
The new media is these guys that are doing these podcasts that are talking to tens of millions of people. The old media on TV, man, they're dying. They're getting nobody. Nobody's watching that crap anymore. I mean, they're getting maybe a few million or a few 100,000 a night, but these guys on these podcasts that are pumping out a couple of podcasts a week or one a week, they're getting tens of millions of ears.
And they're having actual intellectual conversation
for hours. At some, some are doing it.
Yeah.
Ones. But I mean, that's just the new media. And that's, I mean, like I said,
on top of the independent media that's on the rise as well.
What would be that? Like,
for example, one of the ones that I like watching is Breaking Points on YouTube with Crystal and Sauger.
Yeah,
they're set up very much like a news broadcast. Like they sit at a desk and they give you the points and they break it down.
I consider that part of the new media, like all that. Yeah.
Okay.
YouTube, podcasts, all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the new media. That's where the younger generations are going
getting their information.
Yeah. They're not going over there to.
Well, it's because they're actually getting fucking information.
Right.
You're not just getting the headlines and what MSNBC thinks about it. You're getting a broad view. Hey, this is what's going on, and this is this side, and this is this side, which is what we need.
You can't break a huge, complex, topic down in 7 minutes with 5 people on a panel yelling at each other, or 4 people yelling at one guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's again, they're selling ads, they're selling products on. And these podcast guys are selling stuff too, but they're not selling it, every 6 minutes on a podcast. And here's the other thing. These TV stations, like you turn it on, you'll catch what's on when you turn it on. Podcasts, you turn on whatever you want. You can hear it. You can stop it whenever you want. You can do your thing, come back. Yes. It's just, I'm telling you, it's a way better medium.
No, I think after the boomer generation passes, that they're not going to have. They're going to be up shit.
They've been slowly dying for 15 years.
Well, that's because the boomer generation's been slowly dying for the past 15 years. So that's my mom's generation. My mom's in her mid-60s.
Yeah, my mom did that.
I mean, even with us, like Don't get me wrong, me and Rachel still watch the local news to see what's going on
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
weather and
yeah.
everything. But as soon as that national news pops on, it's off.
So,
Well, that and we used to watch it on a daily basis, but it really put a damper on our day
sure.
because their whole goal is to scare you to keep you watching.
Mhm.
So they're telling you all the bad shit in the world, and then, hey, buy this pharmaceutical drug. Hey, here's some bad stuff. Buy this pharmaceutical drug. Like
Well, and here's
not Coca-Cola ads anymore or Cheetos ads.
correct.
It's fucking pharmaceutical ads now.
Well, and here's the other thing. I have another belief. Every single thing that you see on TV in some way has a political agenda. Everything, every stupid commercial you watch, every TV show, every news station, everything has a political agenda. These stations and these shows are owned by these big giant corporations that have an agenda.
Isn't it only like 3 or 4
I don't
companies
know.
own every single
I
TV
don't,
station?
but it's something like that.
Yeah.
And they own everything, and every one of those has an agenda. They're pushing you to believe a certain thing in a certain way, and they have 20 shows each doing that. Podcasts, man, you can watch a million podcasts that have zero political uh, agenda, or they're not pushing it. Like, hey, this podcast is about hunting and camping, and
Mhm.
and maybe they'll throw something out there every now and then, but their 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 livelihood doesn't require that they push their political agenda on you. And then and if you do want to listen to a program that has a political agenda, they tell you a lot of the times, like, it's like, hey, this is how I believe this way, I'm biased in this way,
Mhm.
maybe you are too, maybe you're not, you can listen either way. The guys on TV, they say we are objective, or we have no political agenda, while they're smashing this political agenda down your throat and then selling you some ads.
I never trust the person that says that. Believe me when I tell you.
Yeah, I'm
Or
I'm
if
100% objective. I'm like, that's impossible. Like, you can't be 100% objective.
you're a human being.
Yeah, like you have biases. Like,
Well, that and when you start out I'm gonna tell you the truth.
okay,
And
well,
the truth is
when are you going to
this.
start doing that? Yeah,
You ever hear somebody start a sentence out like that?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
the truth is,
yeah.
most of the time it's not
Just
fucking
say
truth. Like the newest news station on TV, I want to say is News Nation. That's one of the bigger news organizations that's starting to grow as far as TV goes.
Mm.
And their commercial, they have first of all, Chris Cuomo is one of their anchors, which I don't believe anything that much that kid says. But
Right.
their commercials for News Nation, it always talks about how they're unbiased.
Yeah, okay.
Here's the
whatever, like,
unfiltered truth for you.
right, like,
We're here to spread.
your biased opinion of the truth.
That's
like,
But that's my point. Is
yeah,
like if somebody had to tell me how unbiased they are, they're probably
just
not a trustworthy source. Just
be honest and say, I believe this way. Like, I believe this way. This is because everybody has a worldview that originates from something. Everybody has bias. Like, you can't not. Like, you'd be a robot. So you have a bias. Just come out and say it. Like, I would believe, and then let me agree or disagree with you. Like, you come out and say, this is where I'm coming from. This is what I believe, and then you let me figure it out. You don't have to say, oh, like, I'm telling you this from a completely unbiased point of view. I'm like, you can't do that. It's possible. You would have to be an AI, and an AI is biased because it's created by people.
it's got a software.
Exactly. Well, it's software created by biased human beings. So it's like okay, whatever. Like, just tell me where you're coming from, and I'll like or not like what you're saying, but at
Mhm.
least I'll believe it's coming from a genuine place.
Genuine place.
Yeah.
And that's my whole point of having these conversations
Yeah.
because I they're these conversations are mostly selfish. I'm not gonna lie. Like they're mostly
Oh,
selfish
yeah.
because I want to learn.
Yeah.
And the best way to learn is to have conversations with people, I think.
Sure.
Learn from other people's perspectives. Like you grew up completely different than I did.
Yep.
You have a completely different worldview than I do.
Sure.
you know. So I just think other people's perspectives are so important.
Yeah.
Like there's not one side to any story, you know. And then something like we're not going to get into this, but something like the Israel Gaza war that's going on, you can't be touted for 10 minutes and then you switch to the hurricane damage or the tornado damage that happened, and you're not getting the full story.
I agree with that. Agree.
Ugh. What do you think are you want to get a little political?
I don't care. Like I'm not ashamed of what I believe.
No, I don't think that you are. Some people just don't like to talk about it, so I would ask first.
Yeah.
Are you happy with the way the elections turned out?
Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah.
I think it's personally for me, I feel like it's a better choice.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
I did find out today, however, that the Biden administration has laxed restrictions on Ukraine using U.S. ordinances to strike deeper within Russia,
Mhm.
which I think is not a good idea
Yeah.
because it's just inching us. So whenever the elections happened, I felt a little bit better about not ending up in a World War III.
Right.
Now, with what I learned today,
Yeah.
I don't feel as strongly about that because
Yeah. I've heard a couple of viewpoints on that. I don't know where to
neither one of us are political
Yeah.
strategists, nor
Not-
military strategists.
correct. And I don't
Like
know.
we're just two dudes who live in Oklahoma.
Correct. And I don't know where to come down yet. And I really don't remember the details of. I mean, this was a day ago. I think I heard some viewpoints, but I heard a guy talking about how what he did with that specific thing, that it would actually help Trump a little bit. Um, but I can't remember 100%. I can't remember why. It seemed when I heard about it, it seemed like, hey, that sounds like a really bad idea. But it may not be. It may not be. So I don't know. Like that's like shoot. Like I said, like I'll tell you right. I'm not afraid to tell you. I don't know. I don't know if that's
No, I don't know either. But my first thought was like, so you've heard like we need to end these endless wars of funneling money into the military industrial complex. It just wants these wars to continue on and whatnot. What I thought when I first heard it is like, great, they're going to start this massive global war so they can continue to funnel money,
Mhm.
and Trump won't have any choice but to continue to let that money flow into the military industrial complex because we're in this ridiculous
Right.
world war.
Right.
Because it's once something like that gets started, it's not easy to just say, you know what,
Turn
we're
it
not
off.
in this
Yeah,
anymore.
that's-
And that's what I'm afraid of personally as
Sure.
a citizen of the world.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
because
Well, I can tell you that the vast majority of us citizens of the world just want to live peace. You know what I
that's,
mean? I can tell you that.
I'm pretty sure that is the accurate assessment.
I mean, there's some people out there who like to stir it up or who want to stir it up, but most normal people want to live at peace. We don't want to joke. We don't want to go thousands of miles away to fight, and we don't want to send our kids thousands of miles away. Sometimes somebody needs to get their
Ass kicked.
yes. Sometimes that needs to happen, and I'm about that. But for the most part, I would prefer not to. So geopolitical decisions are above my pay grade, but you can't like pulling out of Afghanistan the way we did was a big pile of crap.
Yeah, I think so.
And I mean that was the beginning of the administration. And when I saw that, I remember where I was when I saw that, and I was like, this is horrible. Could you imagine fighting over there and then just to hand it back to the freaking idiots, stone aged Taliban idiots? And I mean, 20 years we spent over there, blood and treasure, just to give it back to them.
And not on top of that, but to give them a whole bunch of military.
Yes, we made them we made them stronger than they were before. It's like what that really made me sick. Like, and I'm not a military guy. I couldn't imagine being a military guy and I fought over there or fought, somewhere overseas and to see our leaders just giving it away like that.
I had heard somewhere that that was the cheaper option. That's why they did that,
It's just,
which I think is absolutely ridiculous
Dude, it's
because you just gave free ammunition and arms to a terrorist organization.
I honestly believe that, and that, like I said, that was the beginning of his administration. I believe that was. I don't think he ever recovered from that politically.
Biden.
Yeah, I don't think he ever. Like, I think that was like a fatal wound to his
The withdrawal.
Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, I'm still pissed about it, and it was, like I said, I never fought him.
Yeah.
I mean, the best way to stop war is to win. Like, win the war. Do what you got to do to win the war, and then get out. I don't think we've won a war since World War II. Like, not really. I mean, maybe, but
It seems like from an outsider's perspective that the military has been used as corporate America's muscle for
I don't. Yeah, I mean,
quite some time. Well, I mean, it doesn't seem like we're actually they. It seems like they're fighting wars under the guise of freedom and democracy, but at the end of the day, it seems like it's all about money and power and land and who controls what.
I mean, it could be a bunch of things, but I know that the soldiers, they want to go over there and win, and then they want to come home. Politicians, they have some other idea, and the world is less safe when we don't win, when we draw them out for 15, 20 years, and when we pull out when we know it's going to end in catastrophe. The world is
As
less
it did.
safe. Yeah, the world is less safe because of those decisions.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Because it just makes us look like chumps.
Yeah, and it emboldens the guys who like to stir shit up. They're like, okay, the big guy, he's not looking out for anybody. So maybe we go take a piece over here and a piece over there.
I mean, as much as I want the world to be a peaceful place, there are some really, really, really bad people in it.
Yeah, of course.
And unfortunately, some of those people run countries.
Yeah, they're in leadership. And
They're in leadership positions.
That's the problem.
I don't doubt that we have our own issues with our leadership, but there are some
We got terrible leaders.
There's some-
in a lot of instances.
worse people than our leaders.
I mean, the worst things America has ever done throughout its history is because of really bad leadership. And that's the truth. I think the founding principles of the United States were always really good. I think bad leaders have made really bad decisions, which have led to America doing really bad things at times throughout history. We haven't always been the good guys, and that's because of bad leadership. But I believe our principles, our Constitution, Declaration of Independence, I believe those are good. I don't believe they're evil. There are governments who are founded on evil ideas, I believe. Communism, Marxism. I don't believe those. I believe those go against human nature. I believe that they're wrong. I believe that they can't but end in suffering.
North Korea is the most recent example of those, I believe.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Have you ever heard Yeonmi Park talk?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude.
Is she a female?
Yes.
Yes, I have heard.
Short little Asian chick.
Yes, she escaped.
She escaped from North Korea
escaped from
through
North Korea.
China.
Yeah.
And was sold into slavery and all.
Yes, but she got here.
Dude, her story makes me cry.
I know. And I've
listening to her talk
Yeah.
about what it's like to play as a child in North Korea around dead bodies because they just killed over and died in the streets is one of the saddest stories I've ever heard. Eating rats.
Well, and it's funny because if you read North Korea's constitution, it's actually like seems really great. Like the people get all these benefits and all this great stuff. The problem is there's no check on the supreme leader. The supreme leader can just do whatever he wants. So that Constitution is nothing but a piece of toilet paper,
Hmm.
just like in the Soviet Union. Soviet Union had this great Constitution written out, giving the people all of these benefits, but there's no check on the power of the centralized government. So you have this Constitution that's completely meaningless. It's just a bunch of words, and the people can't hold this up and say, "Hey, see, this says this. You can't do that." And they say, "Well, this gun says I can do that."
Hmm.
You know, that's the genius of our system. We put a whole bunch of chains on the centralized government. The central government has way less power up in Washington than the Soviet government had, or the North Korean, or the Chinese Communist government has. They have unchecked power. They do whatever they want. Here, our power is diffused out throughout all the way to the local level.
Now, do you still feel like that's true even with modern day
It's gotten
CIA,
well.
FBI,
So here's the other thing.
NSA, the
The-
Patriot Act?
Yes, the nature of government, and the reason why the founders put all these chains on top of it is because the nature of government is to grow, consume, control. It's their nature. It's a giant monster. And you chain it down, that monster is going to slowly, throughout the last, what, 200 something years that we've been a country, it's slowly working out of those chains.
Mhm.
It's slowly getting bigger. It's slowly consuming more. It's controlling more. It's growing bigger. And it's like, as good as our system is, it's not perfect. And it has not fully chained down the government to the point where it can't one day become something really bad. But the founders, I mean, they came from a tyrannical government. They came from a king, a ruler who basically had unchecked power, not completely unchecked, but mostly. So they said, no, that sucks. We don't want that. We're going to we're going to take this centralized government and we're going to put it in a freaking cave and chain it up and make it as docile as we can possibly do it. But that sucker, over the last 250 years, slowly getting bigger, slowly getting more intrusive, and it's going to continue to do that. Now, depending on the leadership that we get to hire at the moment, well, they can throw some more chains on top of that monster. But I don't think they can do it forever. And no nation has lasted forever, and it
No.
won't.
But they've
Every
lasted for many,
well,
many years.
hundreds, even. I mean, Rome lasted quite a while, but I mean, there's no Rome anymore.
China was thousands of years before it became communism, and you know,
Yeah.
a lot of those that have lasted super long amounts of times were always ruled by one person.
Yeah,
It seems like,
a lot of the time.
Rome in particular, like there's always
Well,
one.
Rome's been a republic. It's been a dictatorship. I mean,
They
the
kinda
Neros
tried it
were
all.
gods according to their belief, or not Nero, but the Caesars. Some of the
Mhm.
Caesars were they considered themselves gods and forced the population to worship them. Rome's been a bunch of things, but it is nothing anymore.
Yeah.
It is a historical thing.
Yes, it's a great teacher.
Yeah, yeah.
Great
Yeah.
teacher. That's one book I want to read. Is Marcus Aurelius's book.
Mm.
Is it or a book of his quote? I don't know what the book is. I have to actually look it up. I don't know.
The history of the Roman Empire. I mean, there's been a million books written on that. I mean, and there's a lot of good stuff. I've read a little bit, like
Yeah,
a bit.
there's so much.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton. I mean, people have been studying the Roman Empire for 1,000 years. But
You ever think
longer.
that there's been civilizations before us that were more advanced?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's possible, but I don't know.
Something there was a advanced civilization that lived on Earth, and then something like an asteroid happened and wiped everything.
Wiped it out
knocked it
completely.
back,
And then
still-
thousands of years went by, and
Yeah.
everything. I mean, it's possible. I don't know. Like, it's possible.
Yeah. I think it'd be
I mean,
cool.
there's been some good movies about that.
Yeah.
Or books or whatever.
I thoroughly enjoy watching Graham Hancock's thing, Ancient Apocalypse, I think it's called.
I haven't seen it.
but that's Graham Hancock is the guy who has that theory
Yeah.
that
So you-
12,000 years ago something cataclysmic happened
Yeah.
that wiped out everybody
Wiped
on
out everybody,
Earth,
yeah.
and
And
it's super interesting. I wish there was a definitive way to figure out if
yeah. Well, it wouldn't take that long for the Earth to kind of just grow over everything.
look at
I mean,
fucking Detroit, man.
know.
Have you seen pictures of
I
Detroit?
mean, it wouldn't take
Trees
that long.
growing through the middle of
Yeah.
houses.
Yeah. But I mean, the pyramids are still there, and we can see those things, but it wouldn't take that long just to
Those are literally made out of big chunks of stone.
giant, humongous chunks of sandstone.
I mean, those things don't degrade really.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's back to the whole thing. Like it's back to the earth we go, man.
Mhm. Mhm.
Everything. Like you're absolutely right. It wouldn't take but a few hundred years for the earth to take back whatever civilization might have been there.
And think a few thousand,
Yeah.
like a few thousand years, there would be very little.
Evidence of
Yeah.
yeah. No, you're absolutely right because that's one of the things. So they started doing this thing in the rainforest where they fly over and it uses this laser to
Kinda map it out.
to map it out.
Yeah.
And so
I've seen something like that.
they're finding things underneath the trees because they're
Yeah.
mapping it out. And
Yeah.
they're finding these structures that the forest is just
Consumed.
engulfed.
Yeah, consumed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so that's what they think that happened after the Spaniards landed and brought disease with them and killed a bunch of indigenous people.
Mhm.
Like the earth just took back
Yeah.
where they were living, and there's no remnants of them
Mhm.
anymore. You know,
Mhm.
it's so weird. I still find it fascinating that there are tribes that
Primitive tribes.
out there still.
Yeah. Now, there's probably very few now, but even 100 years ago, there was, I mean, lots
Yeah.
and lots and lots.
Yeah.
I mean, 100 years is, I mean, it's not that long ago, like at all.
1924,
Yeah, it's not that long ago.
World War One
Yeah.
is 100 years ago.
Yeah. It's not that long
No,
at all.
that's what like people. Sometimes when people talk about how advanced we are as a civilization, I'm like, you realize that we've only been flying for 75 years, right?
No, it's more
Or
than that.
100.
The Wright brothers was that was. I mean, but yeah,
1900.
a
Like,
very insignificant
Yeah.
amount of time.
and before that, we were just people who nomads, hunter gatherers.
Bro, when I grew up, I didn't have a cell phone.
Mhm.
I didn't get a cell phone until I was 21, 22.
Shit, we didn't have. Well, we did have a computer in our house because of dad liked computers.
Yeah,
But there was a
Yeah.
big box computer in the house now,
Yeah,
right
yeah.
in your pocket.
Yeah, that's 100,000 times more powerful than the one that was in your home 25 years ago.
I think someone says that there's more power in the modern day cell phone than the computing power that they used to land on the moon.
Yeah, big
Or
time, like
something like
way
that.
more. Like
Which is
all
ridiculous.
all of NASA didn't have this much power. Like seriously. Like yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And it doesn't just it it increases at a compounding rate. Technology does. That's what's crazy. So it doesn't just double. It doubles upon doubling. You know what I mean? It compounds and
Just wait till AI.
well, it's here.
I know it is, but I mean, wait
Wait
till
till
it starts
really-
writing
Really
itself,
gets going. Yeah,
like becomes sentient.
comes Terminator.
Which, how do you feel about that at all, man? Like,
I don't think we can create life like that. Like I just don't. Now we could create some jacked up abomination.
but you don't think that life could sprout from that?
No, I don't. I honestly don't. And I mean, I don't know, but like listening to Jordan Peterson, you ever listen to that dude?
I love it.
Yeah, he's great. And just him trying to explain like perception and stuff like that. Like, dude, it's so complex. It's so infinitely complex. I don't think that we can. We may create something that resembles something, but I don't think we're going to create life, like like synthetic life or whatever you call it.
Sentient
Yeah,
beings.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, but not human.
Hmm.
I don't think we can do it. I think it's astronomically more complex than we know.
I think we'll get there though. Man.
Yeah,
I'm so
hey,
scared.
I could. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I'm. This is just me.
I I kind of feel personally, I kind of feel like they're close to it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
well,
a lot of people smarter than me think that. You
absolutely.
know what I mean?
A lot of people smarter than us
Yeah,
are creating it.
yeah, yeah,
But I remember in the '90s people talking about experiments where they were raising a computer like a child, teaching it,
yeah.
uh, and because that was that guy's particular belief on how you raise it. You don't just create AI, you raise AI,
Right.
just
But I
like
mean,
you would
you're
raise a
inputting
person.
stuff into a system. The system is repeating it back. I mean, that's. I mean, I don't think we're close to creating Ultron yet. You know what I
No,
mean?
no,
Yeah. I just don't think
I
they're
don't think
there.
Ultron's gonna pop
Yeah,
out tomorrow
yeah,
and
yeah,
say, "Hello,
yeah.
you humans need to die."
I just don't think we're quite. I think we're a heck of a long ways away from Ultron.
Well, I think with Elon Musk trying to get to Mars, that they almost need artificial intelligence to help them do
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because there's just so much calculations,
Yeah.
not in preparing for it, but on the actual journey.
Yeah. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think artificial intelligence is going to change everything, the world, everything, especially once it really gets going.
Mhm.
Like, but it's going to be used as a tool. I don't think it's going to be controlling us. I think we'll use it like we use,
A toaster
yeah,
or your phone
yeah, it's going to be a tool.
become part of your
Yeah,
everyday life.
yeah, and it's going to make. I think it can do a whole lot of really good things.
This one.
I don't know. Shit.
I don't think it's going to be the Matrix.
Yeah, the Matrix, Terminator, yeah, all that. It's I don't. We're not. If that happens, because I mean, I think we have the potential to be like that, but I don't think we're going to create a being that's going to do that.
Take over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll use it. We'll use AI to, to get to that end, but
Yeah.
we won't be controlled by
Hmm. Interesting.
it.
My sister-in-law thinks that we're in a simulation.
Oh, yeah. Well, can't prove that you're not.
You can't. No, I mean
Hey,
she has a good argument. I
sure,
mean, like
sure.
what she thinks and whatnot, but I don't see it.
There's a lot of things you can, or there's a lot of things you can't prove that. But
I man, there's just like I was explaining to her, like you ever been on the top, getting to the top of a mountain, and you get to the top and you look over the side and you can just see for fucking ever, or it's a sunset or something. Like I don't think you can write a program for that, man. Like
yeah, I mean,
that wasn't put there for me to come up. It's really hard to get out what I'm trying to think, man.
yeah. Well, I'm sorry.
Uh, but cresting a mountain and seeing a sunset, it's just beautiful.
It's good, good.
I just don't think. No,
Mhm.
I don't think of it's simulation.
Nah,
Now maybe you could argue that life itself is a simulation
yeah,
because it's a learning experience and whatnot.
yeah.
What time is it? Can't see. Seven something.
7:30.
Plenty of time. Just making sure we're not getting too late. It's dark, so I can't tell time
Yeah,
anymore.
no kidding.
Dark at 5:30. Gotta love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Shoot,
I think they should get rid of the time change, man.
just keep it one or the other, and I don't even care which, but keep it one or the other. I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't like. I mean, it messes you up for 2 weeks. You know.
Messes my life up.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous.
Hmm.
Like I get it, but we're not farmers in the 30s
I
anymore.
know. Yeah. It's.
So when time change come around?
I
The
don't
early
know.
1900s or
Yeah,
late
something. It
1800s?
was something like that. It was to more daylight to work.
Yeah, it was specifically for the farmers, from what I understand, from what I understood.
Mhm.
Leadership. Ugh. But yeah, we need to get rid of it. Arizona doesn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they're one of them.
Arizona's one of them that
Yeah.
sometimes they're 2 hours behind. My brother lived there for a little while, and sometimes he was 2 hours behind. Sometimes he was an hour behind.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever, dude. I'm gonna call you when I call you. It doesn't really matter. But I also think that time is one of those things that we've created.
Well, yeah. Um,
The reason I say that is because anytime I've ever done a healthy dose of mushrooms, time does not exist to me, dude.
yeah,
30 minutes passing by, it's not real anymore.
yeah. Well, time doesn't make much sense when compared to eternity. So that is something that's like it's hard to wrap your head around. Eternity is almost unfathomable. Like it,
It's absolutely unfathomable.
like nothingness is almost unfathomable. Like, and maybe it is. Like maybe like there, if there ever was a time that there was nothing, then there would always still and forever be nothing. That's that's why there had to be something eternal for there to be anything. Because if there ever was nothing, then there would still be nothing. Because
Yeah.
nothing means nothing. And
Zero is always going to be zero.
yes, and so time when compared to eternity doesn't make sense.
Yeah. That's what. Have you ever heard? I heard something recently that said that if we changed our calendar to 13 months, every month would have exactly 4 weeks in it, and every first would be a Monday, and every 30th day would be a Sunday or something like that. I was like, man, you're
Yeah.
just,
That's not true. And you know, like our calendars are imperfect, but they're. I mean, we have we have a leap year every 4.
I thought they were pretty close
Yeah. No, they are.
to being precise with like
They're-
the astronomical clock.
They're pretty close.
But that's why we have leap year, because it's just a little bit off.
Yes, and we get an extra day every 4 years.
Yeah.
And even that, like there's tiny amounts of time either gained or lost. Like stuff isn't 100% precise. Even like the rotation of the Earth around the sun is not 100% precise every time. Like there's little things in. So yeah.
Yeah.
No.
The moon certainly. You ever seen the 3D model of the solar system going around not the universe, but the galaxy?
Yeah.
And it actually shows you, because most people think that you have the sun and then Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and they all circle around. But actually, it's flying through space like this,
shooting through space
as it's going like this. The 3D model of it's really.
And then the galaxies are moving around too.
And,
the galaxies are moving around. What are they moving around?
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And it's just, I mean, and dude, there are more galaxies in the universe than there are grains of sand on Earth. That's how many. I mean, that is unfathomable.
That's an astronomical amount that you can't.
I mean, trillions upon trillions upon trillions.
That's why I think aliens are real.
Well,
in some aspect or
I
another.
mean, you could. I mean, you could put on your
Dude,
Joe Rogan astronaut suit.
Tinfoil hat, dude.
The Joe Rogan astronaut suit. You could get that thing on and talk about stuff like that forever.
Well, that's what I mean. Just the sheer size.
Yeah, it's you can't fathom how big.
Yes, there's got to be some sort of life.
Well, sure. I mean, there definitely could be.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I don't think it's here. I don't think it's ever came here. And people get aggravated at me when I say that. Yeah, because like.
Why not?
Well,
What's the reasoning?
Not here, because the distances even to the closest things are so incredibly far, and the environment between here and there is so incredibly hostile that nothing could survive it. And even flying as fast as humanly possible, or as fast as like there's too much time in between. And we're talking about the closest star to the sun is so freaking far away and that's the closest.
It would take something.
But so there's a lot of theories about how there could be, but it would be inorganic life. It would be like AI, and it would be self-replicating AI, and it would use materials that it finds along the way to repair, rebuild, and replicate itself to further go. But I don't think, and dude, there's a billion theories of that. But
There's all kinds of theories.
yeah, there's stuff, but I just don't believe it's ever made it here. I don't think so. But hey, I'm totally open to be wrong on all that. But
I think they're here.
sure, I mean, yeah. I mean, look at Hollywood. They're there already. You know, I mean, Men in Black. That's a documentary. But
Man, I've gone down some rabbit holes and heard some stories like Men in Black stories, and I'm just like, ah,
yeah, yeah.
that's a weird story if it's not
Yeah.
true. Like,
Yeah.
how did you come up with
Hey,
it?
there's a lot of like weird, unexplained things, but I don't think the way they explain it is like, oh, it's aliens. Like, I don't know, it could be a whole lot of other things too.
Yeah.
You know, there's other possibilities, but
Well, I mean, there's good and evil, and
Yeah, yeah,
demons and angels, and,
yeah,
you know,
I believe in that.
like I know you believe in all that stuff. Like, I think I think those things are more like whispers in our ears, though.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like my brother had a good story about riding his motorcycle across the country, and something happened where somebody was there to help him. Um, he was having a problem with his bike, and he went to a shop, and the owner of the shop just happened to drive by and saw him park there waiting, and stopped and was like, "Hey, blah, blah, blah," and ended up fixing his issue. But like those little things, that's the little
coincidence.
whispers of grace
Yeah,
in
sure.
the world. You know, now there's lots of whispers of bad things in the world too, but
Yeah.
like those little interactions with people in everyday life, that's what makes me think in a higher power.
Yeah.
That something has got to be out there that just nudges us in the direction, gives us a thought, gives us a whisper, has a conversation with somebody that makes you think one way or another. You know, like,
Yeah, I believe in that.
and I think good and evil work in those ways.
Yeah, no, I do too. Yep.
Like, I don't think there's huge miracles or huge disasters that are designed by a good and evil being.
Could be. I think it manifests itself a little bit differently now than it used to.
What do you mean?
Yeah, well, the Bible talks of miracles, lots of them. But you also got to remember, the Bible's covering about 6 or 8 or 10,000 years of time. So, and the last book of the Bible was written 2,000 years ago. So I mean, yeah, there was a lot of miracles in the Bible, but when you consider how much time between everything, it's really not a whole lot.
Not in the overall grand scheme
Yeah,
of things.
yeah, it's not in the grand
Yeah.
scheme of things. So, and I still believe that there's big miracles happening now, but I mean, it's not happening on TV. It's not happening in front of people, and it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not something that's so supernatural that you could say, "Wow, that's a miracle." But I think, God still moves in the world today. He's still got his hand in it. He's still sovereign over all,
Mhm.
and he's still pushing little things here and there. Like, I don't. Some people believe that God, maybe he created the world and then he took off. I think he's still here, and I think he's still uh, working everything out to his end.
Mhm.
That's what I believe.
Is there anything like specific that's happened in your life that makes you kind of veer towards that? Like any instances or anything that have happened to you?
I don't know. I mean, nothing that I would say, nothing supernatural that I think that I've ever seen, or I mean, I couldn't say.
Yeah.
You know, but no, I definitely believe God's worked in my life, because there's a lot of coincidences that happened in my life for good that I would attribute to God's hand.
Yeah.
But if God is sovereign, God has his hand in everything, and he has control over everything, then yes, then there really isn't any coincidence. Everything good would be from him.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's kind of why I think that they all kind of work in whispers, because we have the ability to listen to our good side and our bad side.
Mhm.
You know, like I could be a totally different person if I, you know, made decisions differently at 18 than, you know, made negative decisions opposed to positive decisions, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, there's a little, I feel like we have a level of free will
Mhm.
to be good or bad,
Mhm.
you know. So even if God is working towards his own means, I don't think he can have complete control.
Well, I feel like if he doesn't, then he's not God. And the way to look at free will in a funny way that I heard a guy, he's like, human beings have free will, just not as free as God will. God's is the ultimate. His will is ultimate. And what he has planned for everything is going to come to pass. But he gives us a little bit of free will as well to do what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But he has complete control over it. Because if he didn't, then he wouldn't be God. If something else had any control, even if it was just nature or the universe, then he would not be God, and that thing would be God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when you talk about the good self and the bad self, the way I kind of look at it, what I've learned, there's really three bad influences and one good influence. One good influence is the it's God, Jesus, the Word of God. The three bad are the world, the flesh, and the devil. That's the three adversaries that you face. The world is culture. It's all the bad crap that everybody's doing, kind of combined into culture. So it's culture telling you all these things that are wrong, that are not good.
This is the type of person you should be. This is
Yeah,
what you
yeah, yeah.
shoot for.
This is what
Okay.
everybody's doing.
Yeah.
Let's do this. The flesh is your own inner self fighting against what it knows is good. And that's why I say that no human being is good. Human beings have are are bad by nature. So you're fighting with that nature, that
Mhm.
human nature. And then the devil is the adversary, the devil.
Yeah.
And he's got his own plans and schemes that he's working out as well. So you're fighting these three, but you should listen to this one.
Yeah. That's a good description. I like that. I like the way you describe those, especially
That's
the
not an
culture of
original
flesh.
idea.
Oh,
Not even
where'd
close.
it come from?
That came from the Bible
Okay.
and from listening to preaching and commentary on not even close to an original idea. Not even.
No.
Yeah,
But the way you described it is very good. I like it.
also not original.
It's all right. You can take some credit.
No, that's thousands of years of I would be plagiarizing as far back as it goes.
That's good of you
Yeah,
to admit.
yeah, because I guarantee you, if anybody's listening who's ever heard any of that, they're like, "All right, guys,
That's not his shit.
no, that's definitely not. That is definitely not." There's a lot of good stuff in that book, man.
No, I
A
mean
lot of really good
it's
stuff. I should read it more. Good.
I think everybody should read it more, whether you even if you don't believe in it. I mean, it has so I heard one guy talking about Jesus and how he taught in stories.
Mhm.
You know,
Parables,
yeah, and parables and everything. And
which are stories.
yeah, which is I mean, ultimately the Bible is a bunch of stories. And they have great teachings in them. Whether you believe in the Christianity God or not, it's still a great book.
Yeah.
It's still a great. There's a reason why it's the number one selling book.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
all kinds of interpretations of it.
Sure, sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
so, you still go to church?
I do. We haven't been going since the baby's been born.
Well, you got a lot on your plate, right?
Well, we're not trying to get her sick. So we hadn't, I mean, we kind of get out a little bit, like she's been getting out a little bit, but we're not trying to get into a big crowd. She hadn't had her shots.
Mm-hmm.
So when she gets her shots, Doc told us after Thanksgiving we could start, really.
Yeah.
Like, so we're not going to take the baby to Thanksgiving. We'll take the baby for Christmas. So,
Yeah. How do you feel about the inoculations of people nowadays?
vaccines,
Mhm.
I don't know. That's a whole. I don't. I got vaccinated. I'm still alive.
Does it make you nervous at all?
It didn't until the COVID vaccine,
Mhm.
and after that,
Does the baby have to have a COVID vaccine?
no,
I was going to say, because that's kind of ridiculous.
no. And the old vaccines did not make me nervous. Now, I know the science isn't in on everything, but they did not make me nervous, and it's not going to make me nervous about getting baby vaccinated with the same
Mhm.
stuff that I got.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there's tens and tens and tens of millions of people who are alive today because of those vaccines that would be dead.
Absolutely.
But man, like some of this new stuff, like the COVID vaccine, I took it, and I don't know. I'm probably just being a hypochondriac. I don't feel as good as I did before I took it.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's been,
Was it like an immediate thing?
yeah, almost. Yeah.
How long ago did you take it?
I took it right when it came out. Like, right when it came out. Because I was in healthcare.
21, I think.
20. The end of 20.
Was it? Okay.
Like right at the very end. Or maybe it was 21. Maybe it was 21.
I think it was 21.
Yeah. But like January.
Yeah.
We had to.
You had to.
We had to take it. Yeah, we had to. But like, I don't know, man. Like, there's been a lot of health problems that people have heart problems and things like that, blood clots and different things. I don't know. It makes me nervous. I mean, that was it saved a lot of people, but still, I don't know what's better.
Neither me nor Rachel took it. We're glad now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wish I
After years after everything,
Yeah.
we're glad.
Well, I don't believe that healthy people should have took it.
I agree.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that they should have made us take it. That pissed me off.
Mhm.
That pissed me off. But I mean, I think it saved a lot of people, especially people who are unhealthy. For whatever reason, older people. Like I guarantee, like my grandma had probably saved her life. She got and real sick, but she had taken the vaccine, and I think it saved her.
Yeah. My mom took it, but my mom was also in her 60s, not healthy, and like
But I don't know that it was for everybody. But again, that's a huge open wound that's still trying to heal.
and that's actually one of the things I look forward to this new administration coming in is RFK
Yeah,
and him and his ideas of
Robbie,
making America healthy again.
Bobby.
Their little thing, Bobby Kennedy Jr.
No, it's Robbie.
Robert
Yeah.
F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
But that could be Bobby.
Yeah. But Bobby was
His dad.
it was Teddy who was his uncle. I was thinking Ted.
Teddy.
Yeah, Ted Kennedy.
Ted Kennedy.
Yeah, his uncle. He's the youngest of the brothers.
I don't know that
He
name.
was a senator.
Was he?
Yeah.
Did he get assassinated too?
No, he just died.
Oh, okay.
He was the only one that did get. Well, he was the only one that didn't kill. The oldest one got killed in World War II. And then Jack got assassinated. Robert got assassinated. Teddy was a senator, and he died of head cancer. And there may have been more, but that's before that.
But I look forward to seeing if they're going to do what they touted. I mean, I would love an overhaul of our food industry and the crap that they sell us.
Yeah.
Like, for example, most recently, Fruit Loops. A different Fruit Loops is sold to Canada than it is to the U.S. because there's things that are illegal in Canada that are not illegal here. Like stupid stuff like that. Like,
Yes.
why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because agreed.
I think they're able to mass produce in such a way food. It's not as healthy, but they're able to produce way more of it cheaper, feed a whole lot more people for cheaper. I think that was the idea,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's happened. But
That's one of the things I tell people is the current state of America's health, I don't think was the intention. I think it was a byproduct of greed.
Sure. I mean,
You
that's
know,
I mean, that's part of it. But yeah, yeah,
like people wanted to get richer, so they started making it cheaper.
yeah.
And hey, we have this waste. What can we do with this waste to make us money? You know,
I mean, yeah,
I mean, shit, we make a choice every day to either drink fluoride filled tap water or microplastic filled water every day. Like,
yeah,
and I choose the microplastic water over the tap water,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, I don't think that's a choice that we should have to make as Americans.
Yeah.
That's
Nobody's dying.
my,
Nobody's dying of thirst, though.
that's true. Touche.
Nobody's dying of thirst.
It's
There are
still,
people dying of thirst in the world.
I was gonna say we're still better off than a lot of
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
There are definitely people dying of thirst, and that's a much quicker need. You know, 3 or 4 days and you're dead.
But see,
Or you got this 60, 70 years, 80 years.
but see, that's my whole thing with leadership in the world. Like, how are we not at a point where everybody's stomach is full
Yeah.
and everybody has clean water to drink? Like, how are we not there,
Yeah.
man?
Yeah.
Are you really that greedy of people?
Yeah.
Like, that's so fucked up.
Yeah, sure.
Ugh. Draws ball for
Yeah.
president 2036.
Okay. 2036.
Yeah, I need a few years. I gotta
Get
raise
buttoned up, get your speech written.
yeah, gotta raise some money.
Yeah, raise $1 billion.
It seems like you need $1 billion
Well, that's what they
to
have.
run for president, man.
Raise $1 billion. Hey, you're doing it. Yeah. So 2036.
What what's your favorite thing about Fight Club?
Oh, it's just hanging with the boys. Like I don't even give a crap about the jiu-jitsu and fighting anymore at all. Like I show up and I'm like out of shape and hurt all over. My back hurts because I woke up this morning and I'm like, dude,
Oh, the
the
40s.
last thing I want to do is work out. But I love hanging out with them dudes. And the cool thing is, man, there's been hundreds of guys come through Fight Club last 16, 18, however long it's been. There's been hundreds of guys come through. And some of the same dudes who always came from the beginning are still coming. And then like some rando dude who hadn't been in 2 or 3 years just rolls in. You're like, oh, what's up? Like, tell us what's been going on.
That's gonna be me this
Yes,
night.
and it's great, and I love it. And then, and then we just sit around and talk and hang out, and then we work out a little bit, and then we sit around and talk. It's just hanging out with the boys, like
Yeah.
going out. That's and then we go do stuff outside the Fight Club, like
That's what I totally would have shown up to UFC 300, but it was
oh
I happened to get a ticket to the Jordan Peterson speech.
yeah.
So and it happened to be the same night.
Yeah. Well, and if there's a UFC 400, we'll do it. We'll do that. So
I'm pretty sure there will be.
if there is, you're invited.
I don't think the
Yeah.
UFC is going anywhere.
I mean, I don't think it is. I don't think it is either.
No.
And the way they push them things out, man, it ain't gonna be that far away. So yeah, UFC 400, expect a humongous party, and we'll
Yeah.
be doing stuff for
Did-
sure.
Did you watch the Tyson fight?
Yeah, I watched it on my phone. I was out in the country out in the middle of absolutely nowhere, but I still had a little bit of phone service, and so we watched it on my phone.
I actually went to bed. I didn't watch it till I watched the highlights in the morning, but I went to bed because Netflix sucked.
It wasn't
Uh,
working.
No,
My wife tried to watch it.
it kept buffering
Yeah. She
through
said
the
same-
first two fights, and at the end of the second fight, I was like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. She said the same thing.
It was terrible. It
Dude.
dropped.
I didn't know about any of that. I just pulled it up. The girl fight was just about over, and then we just watched the Tyson fight, and that was it.
How'd you like it?
Yeah, it wasn't that great. But I think Tyson, had he fought Jake Paul a year or two ago, it would have been
He looked old.
he would have murdered him. He got really sick. You know that, right? Like he got really sick. He had an ulcer. He was in ICU. He almost died.
Yeah, that's why they didn't do it in July.
Yeah, he got really sick, and I think that just took it out of him. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like I really do. I think that he would. Did you see him fight Roy Jones Jr.?
Uh-uh.
This was like 3 or 4 years ago, dude. He was throwing down,
Yeah.
and it was still just an exhibition fight. They weren't like,
Yeah.
it wasn't for a title or anything. and he looked totally different, totally different. So I just think you get really sick like that. You're almost 60 years old. You go fight a pro boxing match. It's not gonna be good.
Especially a 27-year-old.
And yeah, I mean, and Jake, I mean, he's not a wuss.
No.
He's not. I mean, he's not a pro boxer, but
Yeah.
he's not a wuss.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, Tyson would have fought him a couple years ago, it would have been totally different. And I mean, shit, he could have knocked him out if he wanted to.
Actually, that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah,
I was hoping for a Mike Tyson knockout.
There's probably an unwritten, unspoken, hey, you don't knock me out, I won't knock you out. We'll just have a good show and then let's go home.
We'll make some money.
Gazillions of dollars. And hey,
I was
whatever.
surprised they made so low of money.
Well, it wasn't a pay-per-view, it was free. So that's, I mean, but still, that's 20 million, 20, 40 million.
Yeah,
A lot of money.
that is a lot of money. But I was expecting
2-minute rounds.
I was expecting it to be like the McGregor Mayweather fight.
Yeah,
They made like hundreds of
that was
millions of
pay-per-view
dollars.
though. Yeah, that was that was a big deal though. But I mean, you remember, back in the day, hey, how much would it take for you to fight Mike Tyson? I'm like, 20 million.
Yeah.
I'll fight him tomorrow. Like, let's do this.
That's
Somebody call freaking Netflix. Call Dana White. I don't care who you call. I'll fight Mike Tyson for 20 million
one of the things
tomorrow night.
I was telling my wife. I was like, I would get knocked out by Mike Tyson for $20 million.
Yeah. Now, 20 years ago, 30 years ago,
No.
like I wouldn't be talking to you right now very straight.
Yeah. You need a water or anything, Shelby?
I'm good, bro.
On my run, I'm gonna drink some.
No, that's good. That's I need to be drinking more water.
Well, my next race is a 50-mile race.
Wow.
I'm gonna do a 50-mile race, then a 100-mile race, and then next year I'm gonna win the Big Tex Backyard Ultra.
Have you run 50 miles before?
Not in one sitting.
What's the most you ever ridden?
In one sitting?
Yeah.
A marathon.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I've done that once. Like I did it one time. It was really hard. Had fun. I was like, okay. I still got knees. I'm not gonna.
I love running.
Yeah. I know that's cool. That's cool. It's okay. Okay. My knees kind of hurt these days, but not terribly. I had a little scope knee surgery, so nothing bad. But
Since I'm only a year younger than you, like I have to take it slow. Like I can't do a lot at once. Like I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to do 2-a-day workouts just to get my meat suit a little toner, because running the 50 miles and the 100-mile is gonna take a lot.
That's good, man. That's cool. It's a long ways.
Yes, it is. It'll be well worth it.
That's a long way. Get you an ice bath.
Oh, I do. I regularly did those for quite some time. I haven't done them in a while, but man, I love them.
Yeah. Get you an ice bath.
It's an amazing.
Yeah.
I can't speak highly enough about cold plunges, man.
Yeah.
I want one of the actual cold plunging machines that you can hook up in your backyard and just go out and do it.
Yeah.
Like I fill up my tub with cold water and ice. Like I don't.
Beard bought a horse trough and he used to dump ice in there. And one time we dumped up, and it was like 100 degrees outside. We dumped a whole bunch of freaking dry ice in it, and it looked like his house was on fire. I mean, it was just bubbling, giant bubbles, and smoke was flying, and it was like filled up his whole backyard. We were cracking up. We're like, dude, the fire department's gonna show up at your house. It looks like your house is on fire.
Yeah, I've seen his horse trough out.
Yeah. You still got it?
I think so. Yeah. This last winter, he did a video. My wife showed me. He did a video where he broke the ice in it.
Yeah, got it.
Got in it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Those cold plunges are amazing though. Mm-hmm. What they do for you.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way they make you feel. Especially the couple hours afterwards.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Oh.
You ever been to a hot springs? Like a natural spring?
Mm-mm.
So in Colorado, they're all over Colorado. They're great. And what we do a lot of times,
and hot spring is the hot pools that are heated by the earth.
Geothermal,
right?
yeah.
Geothermal energy heats them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so go on a good hike. Then you go jump in the hot springs, sit in 110-degree water, hot, and then you get up and you walk out to the back of the hot springs, and there's a river or a creek flowing, and you go lay down, and it's
Oh.
45 degrees, or bro, and you
Ugh.
do that back and forth, back and forth. Wonderful. It's wonderful.
Ugh.
I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it.
Where in Colorado did you go for this?
There's one in Buena Vista that I really like that my buddy took me to, and it's awesome. And it's like so there's actually two of them there that I know of. I've never been to there's a fancy one, then there's a straight hippie one. There's a dude walking around, he's got some sage burning just to keep the evil spirits away,
Yeah.
And it's a straight hippie, and that one's awesome. And it's not very expensive. You go there and you just, and it's got some pools, and you get in it, and this one's super hot, this one's like real hot, this one's like kind of hot, and then this one's not as it's warm. So they got the different temperatures. And then you go out back and you just walk around, and there's just a ladder, and it goes down into the creek, and it's freezing. You just go jump in that and freeze for a little while, and then get back up and go get back in the hot. It's awesome. Buena Vista, I think it's Cottonwood. I think it's called Cottonwood. Awesome.
Yeah, look it up and let me know.
Yes. If you ever make it out, Buena Vista is a wonderful place too. You need to go out there.
I will.
It's wonderful.
Well, my 50-mile race is in Moab, Utah.
So my cousin, she goes out there, and everybody that's ever been out there says awesome. I've never been. That's on my
I've driven through it, and it's fucking beautiful.
That's one on my list. That's the place I want to go.
Right.
I've driven through Utah, and I've been to some really cool places in Utah, but I've never been there. And I hear that's like the best.
I drove through it coming back from Oregon when I ran a mountain a couple summers ago,
Okay.
and it was awesome.
Yeah. I have
Awesome.
everybody that's ever said that they've ever been out there says it's great.
Yeah.
It's a desert, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a rocky desert.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's just beautiful though.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things like where you come up over a hill and you can just feel like you can see for hundreds of miles across them. Oh, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I always
Been to it.
one of the things me and Rachel like to do, like if we vacation in the lower 48 states, we'll drive.
Yeah.
Just because we enjoy driving across the country.
Sure.
Man, it's so beautiful.
Well, there's some good places close. Like there's some really good places close.
Absolutely.
That's Colorado's not far. New Mexico is not far.
Mm-mm.
There's great places both Colorado and New Mexico. Utah's kind of far. There's great places even like eastern Utah. That's really awesome. I've driven there a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. But yeah. I mean, you could explore Colorado for your whole life and not see
The
half
thing.
of
Yeah.
what you're trying to.
I thought it was very interesting when I got into Colorado because whenever I went up to Oregon, I went north to Kansas and
There ain't nothing.
turned in
nothing.
Kansas and ahead.
Yeah, until you hit Denver, there's nothing.
It was so crazy. After I got into Colorado, I was like, cool, it's gonna be like mountainous and whatnot. But no, it was just like Kansas until you hit Denver,
Then you hit Denver,
and then the mountains.
Yeah, you're in the mountains.
And it was awesome.
So I've gone that way a bunch of times, but we usually go west to Amarillo and
North
through New Mexico. It's a better scenic, and a lot of the stuff we do is down south, or like we don't make it all the way
west corner.
Yeah, southwest, south central
corners.
Yeah, south
area.
central. I mean, my cousin lives out there.
Yeah.
So, and she used to live in Denver. Now she lives in a mountain town.
Yeah.
So we go out there. Awesome.
I went to Aspen one year to Aspen, Colorado. It's beautiful, man. I was working.
The beer flows like wine.
Yeah. We were working 4th of July at the little private airport in Aspen, and so we worked for 8 hours and then had the time off, and it was all paid for. So we went hiking when we would get off. It was July 4th, like weekend. It's beautiful out. We went hiking up at this one spot. Couldn't even tell you what it was called. But we ended up coming off into this clearing in between these mountains with this beautiful crystal clear lake.
Yeah. The Maroon Bells are out there in Aspen. I've never been there either, and everybody that's talked about that talked about how awesome it is. That's a place. That's another one that's on the list. The Maroon Bells.
Maroon Bells.
The Maroon Bells.
What is that?
Well, it's a mountain range area close to Aspen. You got it's a big long hike, but I've never been there, so I've not seen it, so I don't really know.
Maybe that's the portion of the hike that we went on because we stopped when we got to this lake, but people who had packs
Mm.
were continuing on into the terrain, like, and you could just see this valley go between these mountains. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Maybe that's where we were
It's
hiking, but
a lot of people do it. Like it's big, like it's real famous.
is it like a multi-day thing?
I think so. Yeah. I think if you hike the whole thing, it's a couple days.
Yeah.
Again, haven't done it. I want to do it.
Ugh, there's so much to do in this life.
Yeah.
Such little time.
Yes.
Is there anything specific that you want to do before you die?
Yeah, I want to travel a little bit more out of the country.
Any particular place though?
I mean,
specific.
yeah, I mean, there's different places. So my wife is Greek.
Okay.
We want to go to Greece. Okay. Because she's straight up Greek. Like her dad's half Greek, so she's a quarter. Her dad's dad, her grandpa was from Greece and came over here.
Yeah.
And so, that's a big. So we want to go to Greece, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different places that I'd like to go. But yeah, Greece.
It that whole Mediterranean area is just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
The pictures that I've seen.
Yeah,
Oh,
I definitely want to do that. And I want to do it, but then I'm always kind of dragging my feet about stuff. My wife's real good at just like putting the fire under me.
Get it
It's like,
together.
yeah, we're doing this. Like, okay, hey, we're doing this. So
buy the tickets.
start planning. She's good at kind of motivating me to do stuff. Like, 'cause I'll dream all day and say, hey, I want to do this, but then I'll drag my feet a little bit. She's like, no, we're doing this. Like, so we're gonna start working on making this happen.
Yeah.
And that's what I need. I need a little bit of motivation to kind of, just good.
Well, that's good that you found her.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Because she's gonna make it happen. I probably like maybe I would, but maybe I wouldn't. She's gonna make it happen.
She wants it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Man, I bet you it's just beautiful out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My favorite part about traveling is the food.
Yeah, me too. I'm a fatty.
We just recently went to London and Paris,
Oh,
and man, I tell you what, the food in London was great, but the food in Paris was, I just wanted to eat and
Yeah.
eat and eat.
drink some wine and
Well, I don't drink.
yeah. But you don't drink.
She was.
Yeah.
Man, we went to this restaurant, Les Hombres in Paris. I don't even know if that's how you say it. I say it with like a Spanish accent.
Yeah, that sounds like a French Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, it does. I don't. It may be French. I don't know, but
A couple oaky sweet.
It was LESOMBRES. Right, that's how you spelled it. And the view from your table was the Eiffel Tower.
Oh,
It's an absolutely beautiful restaurant. And it's the first time I've ever been to a restaurant that does the like absolute fine dining.
so like 8 courses.
Yes.
Like everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I now understand why those pieces are so small.
Because you kind of like
Because throughout the courses, like by the end of the dinner, I was full, but not
Yeah.
overly full.
Yeah.
You know, I was satisfied. Man, it was one of the greatest dining experiences I've had.
Yeah.
Like their choice, you picked your courses. I think it was a 5-course meal, a 6-course meal, and an 8-course meal. And that's my cat. I can hear it. And then you had your choice of fish or chicken, and then you got what the chef sent.
Yeah, what they give you.
You know, like
I've never done that. Like I've been to some nice restaurants, but I've never done that.
yeah,
Like,
no,
that sounds cool.
that was my first experience with
Yeah.
that whole aspect, and man, it was everything was delicious.
Mhm.
Ugh. The
Did you,
food.
did you ever watch The Bear, the show?
No,
You
but-
watch it. You would like it. It's all about that. Like the dude comes from that world,
Yeah,
and he takes a place that's like a freaking like sandwich shop, turns it into a fine dining.
yeah.
You would like that show. It's pretty cool.
Actually, I have an idea for a restaurant like that I want too. But man, I love food.
Yeah, me too.
I
I'm all about
love
it. I'm all about it.
I love one of our favorite things to do in the past couple of years is going out to nice steakhouses. Like our favorite restaurant is Broadway 10.
Sure.
Um,
Place great.
Man,
Place is good.
love that place.
Have you guys been to the Hamilton?
Mm-mm.
It's in North Park Mall. It's a little
North Park Mall,
in
Main,
North Park
and
Mall. Yes.
122nd
Yes.
North Park Mall.
Yes, yes, yes. It's on the
Okay.
back side. It's like, dude, it's a tiny little spot, but it's cool. You would like it. It's really good food. It's not, it's I wouldn't say that it's on the same level as Broadway 10, but it's like a half step down.
Okay.
It,
The Hamilton.
it's great. It's good
Okay.
food. Really good. Yeah. It's fancy. And it's kind of romantic, and yeah, it would be a good date night for you. Sure.
One of my favorite newer restaurants in the city is Teller's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You've
yeah.
been to
Yeah,
Teller's
yeah,
yet?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Teller's is pretty good.
The night I proposed to my wife, we were at the Stock and Bond.
Oh,
Yeah,
Stock and Bond
yeah,
is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah, we did that.
Yeah,
And
me
then
and
I
Rachel have been to Stock and Bond too.
proposed to her that night.
Nice. Great place to propose to.
Well, I didn't do it there,
Okay.
but we did it that night.
Great dinner to have
Yes.
before a
Yeah.
proposal.
Yeah.
That place is top notch.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, top notch. Oh, God, I want a steak now.
I hear that.
Love a good ribeye.
Me too. Me too.
It's my favorite steak. I love a fillet, don't get me wrong, but a good juicy ribeye, good marbling.
So when you worked at Outback, you worked the grill, like straight cooked steaks and stuff.
I worked every
Yeah,
position.
you did everything. You
Yeah.
like that's what I thought. You did it all.
Yeah.
Man, you guys did a good job back there. Like, and y'all would like come up with some crazy stuff, and I remember that being so much fun. And then like going to a different Outback, and then like questing some of this crap, and they were just like, no.
No, we
Like
don't do that.
I know you think that you can get whatever you want, but no, we're not doing that. I'm like, well, the guys at my Outback, and they're like,
Yeah, but when we worked at Outback together, it was the whole mentality, no rules, just right.
yes, I know.
Everything you want. We made
Exactly.
everything from scratch.
Yes, back in the day, like Jack's back there stuffing strips with lobster and blue cheese crumbles,
Mhm.
much, dude. I remember requesting that at another Outback. They just laughed at me. They're like, no,
We're not doing
we're not
that.
stuffing a strip full of lobster. I was like, I know a guy who does it. Yeah,
My key does it all the time.
yeah,
He
yeah.
makes it for lunch for me. You
Yeah.
can do it. I know
Yeah.
you can make
Pay
it.
half for that. I pay half. Dude, I love dude, I was 21 years old working at Outback and just like working and then getting off work and then eating a steak and paying half and drinking a beer and getting another one for free because you get to buy one, get one free. Oh, that was so much fun. It was such a good.
I remember when they made us stop sitting at the bar.
Yes,
Warren
after
Expressway.
yes, after your shift, you had to get out of there. Like,
Yeah, you couldn't sit at the bar and have a beer. Like what?
yeah, we started going over to Wild Wings
Yeah.
next door. We started going over next door, which is also fun. That was a good time. Those working at the restaurant was a good
I
time.
miss those days of
Yeah,
Outback, man. Outback's not like that anymore.
No, I don't think it probably is.
No, they just like every company started putting profit first, man.
Well, you got to put profit first if you're wanting to continue to be a company, but you can do it the right way.
Yeah, but if you have a good product, people will show up, man.
I hear you.
You know, and they had great, like they were a notch up from your everyday steakhouse,
I thought
and
so.
now I think they've dropped down.
I think so.
You know,
I think a lot of the chains have done that.
Yeah.
Because
they're at the same level of Chili's now.
Yeah.
I feel like,
that's probably not
and that's like
untrue.
I used to work with this chick in Brooklyn. And she used to jokingly, she'd be like, "Hi, welcome to Chili's," while we were working to people, just jokingly, and she's not wrong anymore.
Dude, I remember one of the funniest guys ever to work with was Mark from Australia. You remember Mark?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Mock.
He was actually Australian.
mate.
He was a server, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he would come up to a table and he'd be like, "Good day, mate. What you guys, and then people would laugh and they think, hey, he's doing an accent. He's like, no, mate, I'm from Australia.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. Like, he was great.
I remember talking to him. He made good money there too.
Yeah.
People
Sure.
loved him.
He just talked and people were like, Here's all my money. Yeah, yeah. There's some characters come out of Outback.
Yeah, dude.
Ugh. I still hang out with one dude all the time, like for a lot. Remember Trevor Sisson?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. So he worked. He was a server there for a while. We grew up together in the same neighborhood. Went to school together, and then I didn't see him for a bunch of years. And I saw him again when he started working at Outback. And yeah, like we still joke about it every now and then. He's got some funny stories.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's a good dude.
I love working out back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of the things I love most is the fact that they did everything from scratch.
Yeah,
They're like
it was good.
their food was top notch back in the day. Kind of disappointing. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Wonder if I still get half off if I showed up.
Man, I seriously doubt it.
My wife does.
You serious?
I'm not joking, dude. My wife never even fucking worked there, dude, and she will go and somebody will recognize her and give her fucking half off. Ridiculous.
That's cool.
Well, my wife is Expressway famous, so
I remember when she worked at
Lumpers.
Lumpy's. Yes, because me and Beard lived right over there. We lived across the street.
Yep,
So we'd roll over there every once in a while.
that's right. You used to live in Beard's house.
Yeah, yeah. We
Yeah.
were roommates for a year or two.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. We go over there
That's
now.
when I met you guys. It was right after my father died.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not when I met you, but when I met Beard and started hanging out with you guys in
You do
Fight Club.
Fight
It
Club,
was-
yeah.
it was right
Right
after
around
my
the time.
father died.
Yeah.
Because my wife thought it would be a good idea
Yeah,
to
yeah.
hang out with you guys and
Yeah.
deal with some of
Be
the
a
issues.
good influence on you.
Yeah. And then that's when you're like, hey, I know you.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I know you.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever really. You look so different when I first came across you again because I think you had a full beard
Yeah.
at the time.
Because Beard had a beard. Yeah. I was like, all right.
His was down
Yeah,
to
he
here.
had the cool beard. And I was like,
you had
man, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it out. And I grew it out for like maybe a year, like as long as it would go. And it was awful, but it was. I mean, I don't regret it,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah. It was funny when I got a new job, and my boss was like, "Hey, man, the beard's great, but you got to shave that." And I was like, "Okay, sure, sounds good."
I can't get rid of my beard now, man.
But it shouldn't.
Well, I can't grow hair, so
Yeah.
ever since I started shaving my head, I haven't shaved my beard.
Yeah.
I don't like that whole Joe Rogan bald everywhere look.
Yeah.
You just look like a dick.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Now you look like a hairy dick.
Thanks. This is what my dick rests on. Is this right here?
Oh man.
Just like I can't do mustaches.
Man, you could.
I can't do
Hey,
just a
You
mustache.
could.
I don't know.
Just for a week.
No.
Yeah, you could do it.
No.
It's sometimes it's kind of fun.
Oh.
I do it every now and then.
Do you
For
do
about a
like
week.
the handlebars? No.
Ow, I mean, I
Manchu.
kinda just go Magnum PI is kind of the what I model mine after.
Yeah.
But it's not hardly like I haven't done it in a while.
Tom Selleck has a hell of a mustache.
Yeah, man, he's a legend.
Yes.
His mustache is
My-
also a legend.
My problem is I don't like it when it grows into my lip.
Yeah,
And
I keep
becomes
it.
part of my food.
Yeah, no, I don't like that either. You got to kind of.
I have to see my barber every 2 weeks. This is
Yeah, I obviously haven't done that. I need to see my barber 3 weeks ago.
you should go to Terry.
Who's Terry?
My barber.
Oh,
She's it's called Handsome Dan's Barbershop.
I got a pretty good guy.
Hey,
He-
go to your barber.
He's on the south side. He's super cool.
No, go to your dude.
He's got one. They're in an old school style barbershop, and it's pretty cool.
Go.
Yeah, the experience is half of going out there,
Yeah.
but it's just on the south side, so it's. I don't work over there anymore. I used to work
Oh.
some of the house.
So are you?
But yeah, but I have yeah. So it's hard. It's hard for me to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make it a priority, or my wife's going to shave my head in the middle of the night.
No way.
Really, but
No. How bad is it? Take your hat.
no, it's bad.
Come on,
It's
man.
just
Take your hat.
It's just out of control.
Look at that beautiful hair just pushed
It's a
back.
mane. I mean, it needs to be. It's unkempt.
Needs to be trimmed up.
Yeah, and I need a fresh cut.
I miss being able to run my hands through my hair, dude. I miss being able to do that.
Yeah.
Ugh. I do it to my wife every once in a while. I'm like, come here, just let me touch your hair. Let me touch your hair.
Forgot what it was like.
What's that?
I said you forgot what it was like.
No, I've never forgotten what it was like, ever.
Mhm.
I just miss it sometimes.
I hear you.
Ugh. Ugh. My wife's hair smells good too. That
Yeah,
pisses me
that's
off.
nice.
Does your wife wake up with perfect hair?
Sometimes.
Oh, pisses me off,
Sometimes.
dude.
I never have in my whole life, but my hair goes this way, so it just goes. Bleh. But no, yeah.
There
Sometimes.
are times my wife wakes up and it's just like she rolled out of a Maxim magazine,
Yeah, there
dude.
you go. There you go.
It's ridiculous.
Does she watch your podcast? You guys say that?
No,
yeah,
she might look in it every once in a while to
yeah.
see if we're done, but that's
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I think she's only listened to
I
one.
believe you. I believe you.
That's why she's not here.
Yeah.
She just,
No, you tell her I said hi. I haven't seen her in a long time.
I will.
Yeah.
She won't come home until after we're done. She's probably one of those people that have popped in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She went to, I think she went to Broadway 10, actually.
Oh nice.
I think she did.
You gonna get some leftovers?
No.
Oh man.
No. She eats it. She gets a fillet and
Yeah.
she eats it all.
You need to get it to go. You got to get that to go.
I-
Don't they got good dessert there too?
Man, they had this one dessert. They have some good desserts, yes. They had this dessert one time that was a Oreo crust with a chocolate cake, and then it had a creme brulee top. It was one of the most amazing desserts I've ever had in my freaking life.
Sounds good.
And they never brought it back.
Really? Well,
Yeah. Had it one time, and it was the most delicious dessert I've ever had. Pisses me off.
Red Rock's got a good one.
Red Rock.
Red Rock Grill.
Key lime pie.
No, the something chocolate. It's like this big giant brownie ice cream thing with chocolate and caramel on top. Freaking amazing. Now you gotta get that. They have it every time. That's one of the.
That's a Hal Smith
yeah.
restaurant. So yeah.
They got that, and it's good. It's like this big.
Next time we go to Red Rock, we'll
Hit
get
it. Yeah.
for sure.
Mhm.
We go every once in a while. It's a
Okay.
good
Yeah.
steak place.
That's one of my favorites.
Red Rock.
Yeah, that's like our family place.
No, there's
Yeah.
good food. I love the Hal Smith restaurants, dude. I can't work for them anymore, but whatever. Worked for Charleston's for a little while.
Oh yeah.
And quit.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't worth my time. So kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta pee. What time is it? 8:26.
Yeah.
Decent time.
Yeah.
Let's end. I end the same way with everybody. What is something that you've learned in life? One good piece of advice that you could give people.
I learned to let stuff go and not bother me. I've learned, you sweat every small thing because, you grow up the wrestling and the jujitsu and in that type of world, like you're kind of a, you know, you don't want to be disrespected. You don't want to take no crap. You want to be, and letting stuff go, especially like relationships that you've had that maybe you messed it up or maybe they messed it up, but letting the bygones be bygones and reconnecting, man, that's big. You have a lot more friends if you learn to let stuff go and don't don't take everything personally. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I've screwed up some relationships in my life, that's for sure, and I've had people hurt me, and I'm not saying that 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 you just forget and like that there's no reconciliation. Like, you still have to come to terms with what happened, and you got to either ask forgiveness or forgive. Um, but yeah, holding on to grudges, basically, what I'm saying.
Is there any specific instance that sticks out in your mind of
No,
your
I mean-
life where you just kind of let something roll off your shoulders and exactly what you're talking about?
Well, like I mean, things that I held on to that I shouldn't have held on to that cause relationships to to go bad for
Mm,
a long time, rather than being like, you know what, person screwed up, or the person, they didn't really mean that. This is not the end of the world.
yeah.
So, I mean, because man, there's people who hold grudges and they can hold them forever, and it's just you're a happier person not holding on to stuff.
Holding on to hate.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
That's, I mean, being, just more easygoing, allowing mistakes to be made, and
Yeah. You also seem like a pretty humble person, Shelby.
well, that's not something that comes naturally either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That takes a lot of work. You got to
Yeah.
in your head. A lot of times you're not, but you got to push them away. Those thoughts.
I like that though. It's just because you're absolutely right, dude. You can't hold on to some nonsense in this world. It'll just eat you up.
Hmm.
Just eat you up.
Because you're going to be on the other end of that. You're going to be the one that's screwing stuff up also, and you would hope that maybe somebody would have grace for you. So having grace for another person, and like I said, if they did some bad stuff, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying just forget that it happened, and I'm not saying don't come to terms with it. But not. But there's a lot of things that you could, like, yeah, okay, that was a moment of weakness. That's,
No need to dwell on it.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm. I mean, relationships is what we got. You know, I mean, it's a relationships to me, friendships, family, your loved ones. That's that's the most important thing. Like you were saying, the the stuff. I mean, you could have all the stuff in the world. You got nobody to enjoy it with. Who cares? But you got these relationships. I mean, the more relationships you got, the richer the human being you are.
Dude, when relationships are going great in my life, I feel so rich.
Mhm.
So rich.
Mhm.
Like, it's amazing. You're absolutely right, though. Can't hold on to stupid shit.
I agree.
Thank you very much for
Yeah, this
being
is
a part
fun.
of my dream,
This
man.
is just like a conversation.
Yeah,
That's all it
no,
was.
no. The only question that I plan is that last one. That's the only one I've ever planned.
Mhm.
So thank you again for being here. Everybody, Shelby, Bullard, do you have an Instagram or anything, Shelby?
Man, I kind of do. I don't get on it, so no, I don't do that. I don't like this stuff. I spend too much time. So try not to.
Everybody have a good night and don't hold on to stuff.